Chapter 658. Li Fan followed Liao Wushuang into the office. After becoming a head teacher, Liao Wushuang seemed to have her own personal office. The layout of this office was not very big. There were 2 desks, one was empty, and the other one was Liao Wushuang's. It was filled with Western literature works, neat and tidy, with a little girl's unique fragrance. After Li Fan went in, he didn't speak and stood there quietly. Liao Wushuang locked the office door, then walked to her desk, sat there, and looked at Li Fan quietly. "The next class is math, I can't miss it." Li Fan suddenly said. "I thought you are used to missing classes." Liao Wushuang shrugged her shoulders. "Your grades have fallen to a mess. I have a lot of things to do." Li Fan smiled coldly. "After all, there are some things that I can't choose, right? Because I don't know when the danger will come. Do you still blame me?" Liao Wushuang didn't seem to want to talk in riddles with Li Fan, so she asked directly. "What do you think?" Li Fan asked, "What did you do? Did you forget? Should I call you Liao Wushuang or Liao Qianqian? I trust you so much, even that I have feelings for you. Hehe, I'm really a big fool." Li Fan smiled bitterly, seemingly mocking himself. "You're right, there are some things that you and I can't choose." Liao Wushuang looked at Li Fan, her eyes didn't evade. "Li Fan, whether you want to or not, you have been involved in this whirlpool. It's just a small class, but there are so many hidden underworld forces. This is all because of you, isn't it? I know where they come from, so I will naturally be vigilant against them." Li Fan said, "But you, I didn't have the slightest guard against you, until you betrayed me." "Forget it, saying this makes me seem too hypocritical. Teacher Liao, the reason why you are still alive is that I want to hear what you want to say to me." Li Fan. Liao Wushuang suddenly stood up, walked in front of Li Fan and looked into his eyes. At that moment, Li Fan felt that Liao Wushuang's eyes were full of love. For a moment, Li Fan's heart softened, like a 1,000-year-old ice melting. Many times, he would still dream of Liao Wushuang and the days he spent with her. But everything seemed like a dream. A beautiful woman enters a dream, and when she wakes up, she disappears with the wind. "Li Fan, do you like me?" Liao Wushuang approached Li Fan and asked. "I like it." Li Fan looked into Liao Wushuang's eyes and couldn't lie to her. "Even now, I still like it. However, I can't stop my hatred for you. You can forget about the hate." Liao Wushuang held out her hand to Li Fan. "I'm willing to travel the world with you. Leave this place. I can buy a house in a small town in Europe or America. Only the 2 of us will live there, no one else. We can forget about these things, forget about society, forget about disputes. You can open a martial arts school and teach those foreigners martial arts to keep fit. I can open a Chinese class and teach those foreigners Chinese. The 2 of us can have 2 children, then teach them to be successful, watch them get married, and have children." Liao Wushuang pulled Li Fan's hand. "Until one day, when both of us are old, we can drink tea together and watch the sunset together." Li Fan was dumbfounded, looking at Liao Wushuang. His heart was in turmoil. He knew that if he chose Liao Wushuang now, he would enter a new life. Yes, he was looking forward to it, and he wanted to live the life of watching over each other with Liao Wushuang. But he also knew that once he chose this life, there was no turning back. "Li Fan, are you willing to go with me?" Liao Wushuang asked again. "Teacher Liao." Li Fan held Liao Wushuang's shoulder with both hands, looked at her watery eyes, and asked, "The man you like, is he a person who likes to escape?" Liao Wushuang's eyes were dull for a moment, then she took 2 steps back. Her body seemed to be weak. She sat on the chair behind him, her eyes seemed to be sad. "It seems that the 2 of us are destined to be enemies." Liao Wushuang suddenly smiled bitterly. "Is it my fault?" Although Li Fan couldn't bear it, he still asked Liao Wushuang, "You're from the storm, and you're here to kill me." "More than that, Li Fan, far more than that." Liao Wushuang wiped her tears, sat up straight, and her expression slowly became cold. "I'm not only a mercenary of the storm, I'm also a member of the Imperial Secret Service. The supreme ruler of the Imperial Secret Service, the Jade Emperor of the small heavenly palace, is my father." Liao Wushuang's series of information was like a bomb, continuously throwing it at Li Fan. causing Li Fan to feel like he was about to die. Small heavenly palace, Jade Emperor. What are you talking about? Li Fan, do you think the Imperial Secret Service is the highest law enforcement department? Liao Wushuang smiled bitterly. You know too little. Regarding the small heavenly palace, I can't tell you, but I can tell you one thing. Be careful of Cheng Mohan, she's from the Imperial Secret Service. There's really no end to this. Li Fan frowned deeply. Imperial Secret Service, do you really want to make life difficult for me? Your existence has disrupted the rule of Jianghu. The Imperial Secret Service will not let you go. The number 1 on the blacklist is your name. Every member of the Imperial Secret Service wants to kill you as soon as possible, in exchange for endless glory and wealth. What about you? Do you also want to kill me in exchange for power? Liao Wushuang looked at Li Fan. Her eyes were somewhat remorseful. I want to kill you. Not for power. Then what is it for? It's to prove myself. Liao Wushuang said and kicked the iron box next to her. The box immediately popped open, and silver armor flew out and quickly covered Liao Wushuang's body. Soon, Liao Wushuang looked like a future soldier, standing there, looking at him. The armor on her body changed a bit, becoming lighter and smoother, very much like the feeling of Iron Man in the movies. Li Fan. This is the last time I ask you. Will you come with me? I like you, Liao Wushuang, no matter who you are. Li Fan said in a loud voice, but I, Li Fan, will never be a deserter. Liao Wushuang's visor closed, her alloy eye flashed a red light, and at the same time, the joints of the armor continued to spray out white steam. Li Fan, between you and me, only one can survive. You can't kill me. Li Fan's body also burst out a strong true qi. Bam! Liao Wushuang instantly arrived in front of Li Fan, and at the same time, her palm slapped down toward Li Fan's head. Her elbow also sprayed out a lot of steam, strengthening the power of this palm. Chapter 659. Li Fan didn't even raise his hand, letting Liao Wushuang's palm hit his forehead. Bam! All of Li Fan's true qi condensed at the top of his head to block Liao Wushuang's palm. The floor under Li Fan's feet was broken, but his head was safe and sound. I told you, you can't kill me. Li Fan looked at Liao Wushuang and said. Liao Wushuang didn't speak. She suddenly raised her knee and ruthlessly hit Li Fan's lower abdomen. Bam! Li Fan used his hands to seal Liao Wushuang's knee. At the same time, he moved his foot forward and hit Liao Wushuang on the ground. Liao Wushuang's hands hit the ground, her body suddenly bounced up, stood up again and took a few steps back. Liao Wushuang adjusted her posture, rushed forward again, and punched straight at Li Fan's cheek. Li Fan directly slapped Liao Wushuang's fist with his right hand. Bam! Liao Wushuang's fist directly penetrated the wall next to her. Li Fan once again grabbed Liao Wushuang's waist and lifted her up. While Liao Wushuang's body was in the air, her palm was aimed at Li Fan. This steel palm is flashing with dazzling white light. This is like Iron Man's impact cannon. Li Fan operated his true qi to protect his body. Liao Wushuang's palm has compressed a large amount of true qi, and shot an air cannon at Li Fan. Li Fan leaned to the side, the air cannon hit the table next to him. Bam! The table directly broke into pieces, turning into broken wood on the ground. Li Fan frowned. Liao Wushuang is serious. Why didn't you attack me? Liao Wushuang stepped on the wall, fell to the side, then glared at Li Fan and asked. I don't want to fight with you. Li Fan can't get over this. Liao Wushuang still has a very important position in his heart. Don't be naive, Li Fan. I want to kill you. As Liao Wushuang spoke, a mechanism on her leg popped out, and an alloy knife popped into her hand. She grabbed it and then stabbed it at Li Fan. However, Li Fan just stood there, not even using his protective true qi. Poochie. Blood splashed out, and Liao Wushuang's eyes widened. Red flew past her eyes, but it made her heart ache even more. The alloy knife stabbed into Li Fan's chest and came out from his back. Why didn't you dodge? I don't want to hide. Li Fan's internal organs were injured, and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Are you an idiot? Probably. Li Fan smiled. In short, I don't want to fight with you. Since you want to kill me, then kill me. Holding Liao Wushuang's saber, Li Fan slowly moved forward, letting the saber pierce through his body. Blood kept flowing, but Li Fan didn't even frown. If you say, between the two of us, only one can survive, I hope the one who survives is you. Li Fan said. At that moment, Liao Wushuang could no longer control her tears. You fool. I'm a bit stupid, so I was deceived by you. Li Fan smiled bitterly. If only you could keep deceiving me. You. Liao Wushuang said, don't move, I'm going to find something to help you stop the bleeding. Li Fan reached out and pushed Liao Wushuang. Before she could let go of the long saber, she directly pulled the alloy knife out of Li Fan's chest. Blood splashed out. Li Fan half knelt on the ground. Losing a lot of blood was not easy for him, not to mention that his chest suffered a penetrating injury. Are you stupid? Do you want to die? If I die, take my ashes to the town you went to and bury them in your yard. Li Fan murmured. I was wrong. I won't think about it, and I won't kill you. Liao Wushuang knelt in front of Li Fan. Quickly stop the bleeding. I beg you. But if I don't die, how will you go back and explain to your father? Li Fan let the blood continue to flow out. Liao Wushuang quickly said. I'll hide it one day at a time. Anyway, my relationship with him is not good. In the future, I will live for you. It's a deal. It's a deal. Looking at Liao Wushuang's serious and slightly pleading eyes, Li Fan stretched out 2 fingers and used true qi to stop the bleeding. In his heart, he was relieved. Damn it, I almost played myself to death. This was definitely the ultimate move. It was the ultimate styles trick of injuring itself to gain the confidence of others. His relationship with Liao Wushuang must be pushed to the peak to be resolved. Fortunately, he had succeeded. Li Fan, how are you feeling? Do you need to go to the hospital? Liao Wushuang was very worried about Li Fan's health. Don't worry, I'm fine. Li Fan waved his hand, indicating that he was much better. Although he was seriously injured, he was, after all, a strong martial artist. Li Fan used his true qi to seal his wound, and at the same time, his true qi flowed to speed up the healing of the injury. But the school uniform was indeed torn, with 2 big holes and blood. It was very obvious. Wushuang, do you have any suitable clothes for me? Li Fan had already let go of the grudge in his heart, so he asked Liao Wushuang. No, you have to go to the hospital. Liao Wushuang guessed Li Fan's thoughts and immediately said. Don't worry, I'm fine. If I die with such a small injury, I won't be a bully anymore. Li Fan said proudly, and at the same time, he stood up and directly tore off his shirt. The muscles on Li Fan's body were very good-looking and well-defined. Moreover, the muscles were not exaggerated and looked comfortable and pleasing to the eye. Liao Wushuang blushed slightly, but now was not the time to be shy. She opened the cabinet next to her, took out a medical kit from inside, and began to clean Li Fan's wound. The alcohol rubbed on the wound still hurt a little. However, Li Fan endured it and looked at Liao Wushuang, who had taken off her armor, and carefully wiped his wound. Li Fan looked at Liao Wushuang's impeccable face and felt a little at peace for a while. Perhaps it was really good to live in a world of only 2 people with Liao Wushuang. No. Li Fan hurriedly shook his head and shook off these thoughts that he shouldn't have. The underworld was still very big, and he still had a lot of things to do. How could he escape to hide alone and be idle? If he really wanted to be idle, he should solve all these things first. There was also a huge Special Abilities Bureau waiting for him to support. There were so many people. If it weren't for the fact that Primeval Escort Agency's business was now big, he really couldn't afford to support all of them. Okay, there shouldn't be any infection. Liao Wushuang helped Li Fan clean his wound and finally breathed a sigh of relief. This math class was wasted again. Li Fan winked at Liao Wushuang. Teacher Liao, I'm a person who loves to learn. Screw you. Don't give me that. If you really want to learn, I can help you with your tutoring. I'm also very good at math, not worse than that campus belle of yours. Liao Wushuang pouted coquettishly with a hint of jealousy. Hey, why do I smell jealousy? Teacher Liao, did you knock over the bottle of vinegar? Chapter 660. Go to hell. You're the one who has knocked over the vinegar jar, Liao Wushuang coquettishly said. This is academic, I don't admit defeat. Okay. Teacher Liao, please help me with my tutoring later. Don't call me Teacher Liao anymore, Liao Wushuang pouted. At this time, she also let go of the knot in her heart, revealing the demeanor of a little girl. Just call me Wushuang. Why not call her Qianqian? That's the name that person gave me. I don't like it. Liao Wushuang said very seriously. My name is Liao Wushuang, unparalleled in the world. Good. Wushuang is mighty and domineering. Li Fan cupped his hands, provoking Liao Wushuang to punch him. However, you mustn't call me that in front of others. In front of outsiders, you must call me Liao Laroche. Sigh. Life feels so complicated. Li Fan sighed, provoking another round of punches from Liao Wushuang. Ouch. Li Fan suddenly let out a blood-curdling screech. Ah, where are you hurt? Let me see. Liao Wushuang was frightened and quickly checked Li Fan's injuries. Just give me a kiss. Die. Liao Wushuang wanted to punch Li Fan, but after thinking about it, she put down her fist. In the end, she couldn't bear to do it. All right, Wushuang, I have to go to class too. If I stay here for too long, people will start to suspect me. Let's not expose our relationship for now. Liao Wushuang nodded. Let me see if I can get more useful information for you. By the way, can you tell me more about the Lesser Heavenly Court? It's the Small Heaven Palace, Liao Wushuang emphasized. Oh, right. Little Heaven Palace, that, your father is called the Jade Emperor. Is he a god? Of course not. There are no immortals in this world. Liao Wushuang said, but his martial arts are superb, he should be the best in the world. Oh. Isn't the number one in the world Murong Bo? There are many experts in the world who live in seclusion. Aren't there many people in the top 10 of the list of celebrities who are hiding their names? Liao Wushuang said with a smile, my father, the Jade Emperor, practiced the grand formless divine art and basically dominated the world. Later on, he adopted Commander Wang Zuo as his representative and helped him manage the embroidered uniform guard. I've been an insulator since I was young, so I couldn't practice internal energy. Thus, he gave up on me and left me on the street to die. Fortunately, a kind person adopted me, and I survived. In the end, I was not satisfied and joined the Storm mercenary group to hone my skills. This time, I also want to kill you. I want to show him that even if I don't practice inner force, I'm still powerful. If you don't kill me now, you won't be able to prove it, right? There's no need to prove it. Liao Wushuang gently hugged Li Fan and rested her head on his shoulder. Because I've found someone who needs me, silly girl. Although she was 2 years older than him, Li Fan couldn't help but like this woman. Liao Wushuang was strong on the outside but soft on the inside. This girl's heart was actually very fragile. Li Fan couldn't help but want to take good care of her and not let her get hurt. More than that, I can't tell you. Liao Wushuang said with some embarrassment, there are a lot of things that you shouldn't know. Believe me, I won't harm you. I believe you. Li Fan nodded. At the same time, he stretched out his hand. A dark brown wasp flew out and flew in front of Liao Wushuang, scaring her. Poisonous wasp. She grabbed the alloy knife next to her but was stopped by Li Fan. Don't be impulsive, this is my 7 emotions and 6 desires GU. Li Fan roughly explained this thing to Liao Wushuang. Liao Wushuang's eyes lit up. Share emotions? Then I can have true qi. Yes, I can change your insulator. The 7 emotions and 6 desires GU was very powerful. Li Fan believed that Liao Wushuang's physique could be changed. The combination of pure yang body and pure yin body could absolutely go against the heaven's will. But the side effect is also very big. If you keep a certain distance from me, you will definitely be implicated. Li Fan suddenly remembered something. This office should be some distance away from the classroom. If I get stabbed and Murong fainted, that would be bad. Thinking of this, Li Fan couldn't help but want to pat his head. Later on, I can't be too impulsive. If I'm impulsive, The people around me might be unlucky. Li Fan wanted to take back this killer bee. He was just impulsive. But Liao Wushuang had already made a decision. You're injured, it hurts my heart. There's nothing bad about having a different heart with you. You've really decided? Liao Wushuang solemnly nodded. Come, I give myself to you. Okay. Li Fan respected Liao Wushuang's idea. Since she has decided, he should help her. Li Fan sent the killer bee into Liao Wushuang's body. Liao Wushuang immediately moaned and fell into Li Fan's arms. Her body trembled violently as if she had climbed to the peak. She hugged Li Fan tightly, like an octopus, clinging to him. Li Fan swallowed his saliva. This is absolutely a fatal temptation. Especially when Teacher Liao's body is so well developed. Her chest squeezed on my body, it felt wonderful. Amitabha, I can't let my imagination run wild. I'm still a high school student. How can I think of such indescribable things? Liao Wushuang trembled for a full 10 minutes. She was high for 10 minutes. She was drenched in sweat from head to toe, and her exquisite figure was highlighted. Li Fan felt his desire to commit a crime was getting stronger and stronger. But Liao Wushuang finally calmed down. She took a deep breath, raised her palm, and slapped the wall next to her. A handprint appeared on the wall. 7 emotions and 6 desires. Pleasure GU could allow an expert who had reached the next level to reach the peak of strength, and could also allow an ordinary person to reach the next level. Now, Liao Wushuang's strength, plus her battle armor, is a bit heaven-defying. I really have inner strength. Liao Wushuang looked at her hands and cried tears of joy. Her dream of so many years, actually came true. Millimeter, Wushuang, don't casually destroy public property. Every poison GU, after entering the body, will let the true qi circulate in the body according to a certain cultivation method, automatically practicing a certain martial art. According to Murong, the martial art brought by the killer bee should be similar to heart destruction palm. The state is similar, so Li Fan might as well call it heart destruction palm. If the Yin Gate people knew that Li Fan is so casual, they would probably be half dead from anger. 7 emotions and 6 desires union GU, that was a treasure that they dreamed of refining. Chapter 661. Although Liao Wushuang has never practiced any internal force, she still has a powerful father, so she has some understanding of internal force. Now that she has gained some internal force, she sat cross-legged on the nearby sofa and began to silently practice. Li Fan didn't want to disturb her. He took out an unknown school uniform from the nearby cabinet and put it on his body. The owner of this school uniform was probably a bit fat, so when Li Fan put it on, it looked a bit out of place. But it's still better than being naked. Liao Wushuang will clean up the scene by herself. When Li Fan was about to leave, Liao Wushuang threw out a sentence. Be careful of Cheng Mohan, she's using soul-burying song. Li Fan opened the door and slowly slipped out of the office. The hallway of the school building was empty and very quiet. From the other side of the hallway came the sound of reading. Li Fan walked along the hallway and slowly returned to the classroom. There was a knock on the classroom door. The person in the class was an old man who taught geography. He had a common Mediterranean hairstyle and was wearing an old-fashioned shirt and trousers that were often unzipped. His temper was not very good. When he heard the knock on the door, he immediately lost his temper. Who dares to be late for my class? He angrily shouted at the door, get in here. Then stand and finish the class. Li Fan opened the door and entered. The old man was silly. That. I'm sorry, Teacher Yang, I'm late. Li Fan obediently stood at the door. I'll stand here and listen to your class. How can I? It's my fault, teacher, please continue the class. Okay. The old man wiped his cold sweat and continued the class. A lot of suspicious eyes fell on Li Fan. Liu Zhu, Lin Yu Hin, Ling Yu, this group of people, all looked at him. Are you going to die with the beautiful teacher? Liu Zhu sent a telepathic message while winking at him. Go away. Li Fan glared at Liu Zhu. How can you talk to your big brother like this? I just feel that big brother's life is so happy. He has all kinds of beauties accompanying him, And his luck with women is not shallow. As his little brother, I'm so jealous. Liu Zhu said enviously. All right, leave the demonic cult and join the phenomenal escort agency. Li Fan did not get annoyed. Instead, he went along with Liu Zhu and said, I promise to let you enjoy this kind of life. Haha, then forget it. Everyone has their own ambitions. Liu Zhu continued, but I'm just worried that you'll die from excessive ejaculation. Believe it or not, I'm still a virgin. Li Fan said proudly. It's not funny. Liu Zhu did not believe it at all. Why would I lie to you? Since we're on the same side, we shouldn't hide anything from each other. Li Fan said straightforwardly, I have nothing to lie to you about. But haven't you been living with Murong Ying for so long? You actually didn't take her down? She's a challenge. Even if I'm her fiancé, if I want to sleep with her, I have to defeat her. Li Fan wanted to cry but had no tears. Sometimes she'll suddenly agree, but she'll quickly change her mind. Such a fickle woman. I didn't expect Alliance Master Murong would have such an interesting story. Then big brother, you can't do it either. Liu Zhu clicked her tongue a few times, angering Li Fan to the point of rolling his eyes. Fuck, what do you mean I can't do it? Take off your pants, I'll fuck your anus. You. Liu Zhu actually couldn't accept such a joke. Her cheeks turned red and she was speechless for a long time. Li Fan was somewhat proud. Humph, this kid wants to fight with me. Don't you know I've already taken off my integrity? Young Master Li, what are you talking about? Why are you so happy? Just as Li Fan was enjoying his small victory, another woman's voice came into his ear. This voice was as soft as water, as if it could melt a person's heart. Li Fan turned around and saw that Cheng Mohan was sitting there and winking at him. I was wondering who it was. So it's the soul-burying song. Li Fan's voice was calm. You finally can't help but want to chat with me. Young Master Li is a dragon among men. Any girl would want to get close to you. Cheng Mohan's voice tugged at the heartstrings. Miss Cheng is also among them. Of course. This concubine is also a girl. I'll also be moved by outstanding young men. Cheng Mohan was clearly transmitting her voice from far away, but Li Fan felt as if she was sticking close to his ear. His bones were about to go numb. This woman is definitely a calamity. He felt that his lower body was about to rise up. There were so many people in the class, but he was standing at the door with his crotch on. What kind of appearance was that? Don't give me that. Li Fan let his true chi rush to the top and sobered up a little. What are you here for? Just say it. Of course I'm here to kill you. Cheng Mohan said, Young Master Li doesn't need to be too excited. This concubine is different from others. They want to make a move on the people around Young Master and force Young Master to submit. This concubine likes challenging things, so this concubine is willing to set a 1-year time limit with Young Master Li. Within a year, the embroidered uniform guard will not touch the people around Young Master Li. This concubine will also kill you within this year. Hehe, then shouldn't I thank you? Young Master doesn't need to worry. Who told this concubine to fall in love with Young Master? Do you say this to every man you want to kill? Of course not. Young Master Li thinks too badly of this concubine. Cheng Mohan smiled. After all, before I joined the embroidered uniform guard, this concubine was the white signboard of King of Hell. Li Fan was taken aback by those words. A white signboard assassin of King of Hell. In the past, those black signboard assassins were already troublesome enough. Now, he was sent a white signboard. Fuck, don't be too deceptive. Young Master Li, don't worry. This concubine will be very gentle to you. As Cheng Mohan said this, she quietly stretched out her right hand towards Li Fan and clenched it. Li Fan's face immediately turned pale as he felt a sharp pain coming from his chest. This scoundrel woman actually used the little phaseless magic technique to pinch his heart. Li Fan had met 3 of the 4 great blackguards of the embroidered uniform guard. As for the other 3, none of them used the little phaseless magic technique. Thus, Li Fan subconsciously thought that Cheng Mohan also did not know how to use it. But now, she suddenly acted up and gave Li Fan a surprise attack. Murong's face also turned pale. She bit her lips and glanced at Li Fan. But Li Fan was not someone to be trifled with. He immediately revolved the true qi in his body and protected the position of his heart. Li Fan used his true qi to block Cheng Mohan's attack. His and Murong's expression softened a lot. If not for the fact that Murong also practiced a strange technique, perhaps she would have fainted just now. Murong did not make a sound. Instead, she quickly looked for her target in the crowd. Chapter 662. Who was it that wanted to make a move on her brother-in-law's husband? Murong quickly searched for her targets, but no one revealed any flaws. Cheng Mohan used her body to block everyone's line of sight, while Li Fan continued to fight with her. The two of them used Li Fan's body as a battlefield. If not for the fact that Li Fan's true qi was condensed, he would have been silently killed by Cheng Mohan. This didn't seem to be the way to go. Cheng Mohan's little phaseless divine art was somewhat mature, and it would be difficult for him to suppress Cheng Mohan. However, Li Fan wasn't stupid. He secretly placed his right hand on his waist and secretly pinched Cheng Mohan. Sky-swallowing toad. Under this mode, although Li Fan's use of true qi couldn't be compared to the little phaseless divine art, it was still unique. Moreover, the place he pinched was a little wicked, it just so happened to be Cheng Mohan's chest. Cheng Mohan moaned, then looked at Li Fan with some resentment. "Sweetheart, are you so interested in my chest? Yeah, don't you want my heart too?" This time, it was Li Fan's turn to wink at Cheng Mohan. The two of them didn't seem to be willing to be outdone. For the entire class, they had been using their inner force against each other. This isn't a solution. Why don't I count to 3, and we let go together? Li Fan opened his mouth and asked. Sure, let's do as Gongzi says. Then I'll count to 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3, fuck, let go? Gongzi, let go first. Ladies first. A man should take the lead. The two of them used their true qi on each other. They stared at each other, neither giving way, neither letting go. Fortunately, the class didn't last too long. The bell rang, signaling the end of the class. As soon as the bell rang, the two of them released their true qi at the same time as if they heard a slogan. Both of them took a step back, and Murong immediately rushed to Li Fan and dragged him away. Murong pulled Li Fan and directly barged into a small classroom. Then, without any explanation, she tore off his clothes. Fuck, what are you doing? Your wound, how did it come about? Murong looked at Li Fan worriedly. I'm fine, don't worry. Li Fan reached out and stroked Murong's head. Hubby, tell me, who wants to kill you? Murong was also an impatient person. Hey, where did brother-in-law go? Brother-in-law, quickly tell me, I will help you take revenge. Murong's palm was filled with true qi, as if she was ready to strike at any time. What the hell is brother-in-law? Call him brother-in-law. Brother-in-law, hubby, tell us quickly. Li Fan was speechless. This little girl, he really couldn't deal with her. Is it Ling Yu? Or Jin Jiomor? Or that Liu Zhu? Murong was smart. She thought for a moment and then said, no. The three of them are not your opponent. Who is it? Right, is it that Cheng Mohan? She must be strange. It is indeed her, but you don't have to interfere in this matter. Li Fan pulled Murong, who was about to rush out. Why? Murong was a little angry. She hurt you like this. I feel distressed. This is not her injury, she doesn't have that ability. God, then who hurt you? Liao Wushuang. Is it her? Murong's little brain turned fast, as if lightning, and quickly figured it out. Li Fan was a bit annoyed. Why are all the girls around me so smart? It makes me look like a fool. This was too displeasing to them. Don't be impulsive, Liao Wushuang is now one of us. Li Fan took Murong Ari's hand and said to her. How did she become one of us? Brother-in-law. Did you sell your body? Li Fan admired Murong to death. Damn, how could she guess everything? This girl is going against the heavens. Can't you calm down? Don't spin your brain like a small motor anymore. I'm not, I'm thinking normally. Could it be that I'm wrong? Li Fan was powerless to refute, because this girl was right. Damn. What a devilish brain. Li Fan admired her to death. He really wanted to kneel to Murong, kneel to the 18th level of hell. Brother-in-law. Did you really take down Liao Wushuang? Murong stared at Li Fan's eyes, as if she wanted to see through Li Fan's heart. But Li Fan tried to keep his eyes calm, so as not to be seen through by Murong. What are you thinking, Xiao Ari? Is this how you see your brother-in-law? Li Fan looked at Murong sadly, but Murong pouted. Isn't it? Of course not. Li Fan emphasized again. I, your brother-in-law, relied on my strong personal charm to influence and conquer Liao Wushuang. Could it be that you, lass, had approached me because of my looks? In your heart, is your brother-in-law just a pretty boy who only relies on his face? No, no. Murong quickly shook her head. But when you said that, I think so. It turns out that I don't have any good points, only my face. No, no, brother-in-law, you really think too much. After all, you don't have a face. Li Fan was once again choked to death. I'm just worried that the women outside are tigers. What if they eat you up? You're the only one who wants to eat me up, you little tiger. Li Fan stretched out his hand and pinched Murong's nose. Of course not. Brother-in-law, you don't know that the way those women look at you is like they want to eat you up. That Liao Wushuang too. And that Lin Yuhin, humph, she can't escape from my eyes. Even that Huashan woman, Xia Ying, is the same. You are thinking too much. No, I can see it clearly, Murong said with certainty, and that Liu Zhu. The way he looks at you is also full of love. Pei. He's a man, how could he look at me with affection? That's his problem, anyway, the way he looks at you is abnormal. Don't you believe me, brother-in-law? I believe you, but I feel that you might be a bit sensitive. Li Fan patted Murong's shoulder. Moreover, your brother-in-law is so outstanding, it's normal for girls to like him. That's true. Murong nodded. But brother-in-law, aren't you a bit too narcissistic? Li Fan wanted to cry but no tears came out. This girl, when she's naughty, she's really deadly. Hurry back to class. Don't let your imagination run wild. Li Fan patted Murong's head. The situation is a bit messy now, don't give me more trouble. Chapter 663. Murong Ari seemed to reluctantly agree. In fact, Li Fan also has a headache. Murong Ari should be the biggest unstable factor in this group of people. This little girl is like a time bomb, ready to explode at any time. Li Fan led Murong Ari back to the classroom, preparing for the next class. After Cheng Mohan attacked Li Fan once, she calmed down a lot and didn't make any other attacks. The last class is Liao Wushuang's English class. When Liao Wushuang walked into the classroom again, Murong Ari suddenly raised her head and collided with Liao Wushuang's eyes. The two girls had an invisible contest. The air seemed to be emitting sparks. Liao Wushuang stood on the podium, looking at Murong Ari for a long time. The classroom was somewhat quiet for a while. Li Fan noticed their state and couldn't help but cough twice. Liao Wushuang woke up and began to teach everyone English class. But the current Liao Wushuang, compared to before, seemed to have a faint charm, strongly attracting the men's eyes. Almost everyone's eyes are staring at Liao Wushuang, not willing to leave for a second. And Murong Ari directly transmitted her voice to Li Fan, scolding. Brother-in-law husband, why did you let her use the killer bee? Cough, cough, this is the price to make her work for me. Li Fan doesn't want to tell the matter between him and Liao Wushuang to Murong Ari, lest this little girl explode. 7 emotions and 6 desires. Pleasure GU is a very precious treasure. Brother-in-law husband, please don't give it to others casually. Don't worry, I naturally know what to do. Li Fan comforted Murong Ari. So far, I have only sent out 2 GU worms, one for you and one for Liao Wushuang. I always feel a little unwilling. Murong pouted unhappily. Liao Wushuang also felt the aura of the GU worm on Murong's body. She was also very shocked. This was Li Fan's sister-in-law. This bastard, he didn't even let go of his own sister-in-law. Liao Wushuang secretly glared at Li Fan and continued with the class. After her class, it was the evening self-study session. Senior 3 students were required to attend the evening self-study session. Since Li Fan had returned to campus, he was no exception. During the self-study period, Liao Wushuang also sat on the podium and accompanied everyone to study. The entire classroom was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Usually, the students sitting in the front row were the better students. They were reviewing their lessons seriously, doing homework, or writing papers. Many of the students in the middle were secretly playing with their phones, while the students in the back were almost all asleep, using the evening self-study period to catch up on sleep. Lin Yuhin was sitting next to Li Fan, supervising Li Fan as he did the test paper. By the way, Liao Wushuang seemed to remember something. She looked up and said to the students, "The day after tomorrow will be the Mid-Autumn Festival holiday. But this year, the whole city is implementing a comprehensive education of morality, intelligence, physique, beauty, and labor. Therefore, we decided to select 2 schools to participate in the extracurricular activities organized by the city's Ministry of Education. The 2 schools each have a class. The school selected our class. It will be a total of 3 days and 2 nights. If anyone doesn't want to go, you can tell me in advance." "Teacher, where are we going?" "Qingming Mountain." "Teacher, are you going?" "Of course, I'm going." Liao Wushuang nodded her head. The students immediately cheered. "Isn't this the same as going out to play?" "Teacher, no matter if others go or not, I want to go." The students were excited. The sound in the classroom was a lot louder and a bit noisy. Liao Wushuang quickly pressed her hand to make everyone quiet down. "Teacher Liao, for these 3 days and 2 nights, are we going to live together?" Li Fan couldn't help but ask. "Yes." Liao Wushuang looked at Li Fan, her eyes seemed to have some desire. "Li Fan, are you going?" Everyone looked at Little Tyrant, waiting for this little tyrant's opinion. "Let's go. I haven't participated in a group activity for a long time." Li Fan couldn't stand Liao Wushuang's burning gaze. He nodded his head in agreement. "Then I'm going too." Murong Ari immediately raised her hand. "I'm going too." Ling Yu remembered the task given to her by Long Fengyu and also raised her hand. "Mph, then I'm going too." Jin Jiomor was not to be outdone. "Students, I originally said that I'm not going, that's why I raised my hand." Xia Yang couldn't help but ridicule. The 2 women turned their heads at the same time, as if they were throwing a tantrum. "All right, since everyone wants to go, then I'll report the name list." "He, I think I'm not going." Wang Qiong didn't want to invite trouble for himself. In this class, only Wang Qiong hadn't transferred out after provoking Li Fan. After all, Wang Qiong was a smart person, and he had never provoked Li Fan. However, if he followed him to the expansion activity, he might not do well and provoke Li Fan. It was better for him to stay at home and discuss with his family to transfer him to another class. Staying by Li Fan's side was too dangerous. Understood, then everyone continue with the self-study. "Get ready." The students seemed to be a little excited as they whispered to each other. "Are you really going to participate in the expansion training?" Lin Yuhin lowered her voice. "This will affect my studies." "It's fine, aren't you by my side?" Li Fan blinked his eyes at Lin Yuhin. "With a personal tutor, my results won't be bad." "Humph, who's your personal tutor?" Lin Yuhin fiercely rolled her eyes at Li Fan, and then scolded him. "Look at your paper, you got more than half of it wrong." "My God, where did your brain go?" "My brain is already filled with too many things." Li Fan wanted to cry but had no tears. For the time being, it can't hold anything else. "If this goes on, you definitely won't be able to pass the university entrance exam." "Why can't I pass the exam?" Murong overheard their conversation and was unhappy. "I'll help with the tutoring. Peking University and Tsinghua University are free to choose. Foreign universities are also not a problem. Your results are just SOSO." Lin Yuhin did not hesitate to ridicule. "How do you tutor Li Fan? Are you looking down on me?" Murong was not convinced and stared at Lin Yuhin. "Let the results speak." Lin Yuhin took out her own paper. "I got 1 more point than you. I just made a mistake." Murong was not convinced. One time's result can't decide everything. Don't be delusional. In terms of study, no one can surpass me. Lin Yuhin has a unique way of dealing with the exam, which can be called the god of exams. Especially when it's related to Li Fan, she can't give in. Want to compete? Let's compete. The two girls quarreled, causing Li Fan to have a headache. As a teacher, Liao Wushuang should step in at this time. Chapter 664. Be quiet. We're still in class. Liao Wushuang criticized them. Humph, you have no right to criticize us. Murong Love finally exploded as she pointed at Liao Wushuang and scolded. Don't think that I don't know what you're thinking, little hussy. Don't even think about getting close to Li Fan. Murong Love raised her voice. Li Fan is my brother-in-law. My sister Murong Ying's fiancé. A bombshell. The whole class exploded. My God. Who is Murong Ying? She's the school's director. The school's director and the student are actually fiancé and fiancée? Is this really possible? All the students didn't believe it, but looking at Murong Love's serious expression, it doesn't seem like she's lying. Could it be true? Many of the boys who have a crush on Murong Ying were on the verge of breaking down as they couldn't believe this fact. Li Fan was also very embarrassed. He didn't know if he should explain or not. He sat there awkwardly, enjoying everyone's attention. What's wrong with fiancé? Unexpectedly, Liao Wushuang's words were even more shocking. He hasn't gotten married yet and he already has a chance. The main thing is, Li Fan is still a student. He shouldn't be in a relationship so early. Although Liao Wushuang added a sentence, the meaning of her words was already very clear. The school's two goddesses, the school's director, Murong Ying, and the teacher, Liao Wushuang, actually have a crush on Li Fan? Don't even think about it. You're all too old. You don't understand Li Fan at all. Lin Yuhin suddenly interrupted. Only I know what he wants. Many of the boys directly broke down. This isn't fun anymore. Even the school's belle has a crush on Li Fan. They couldn't wait to become a little tyrant. Whoever can marry one of them in this lifetime would be considered as a blessing from 3 lifetimes. This Li Fan, how could he have 3 of them at the same time? And they're all jealous because of him. It wasn't fair. God, you're too unfair. Apart from being able to fight, Li Fan isn't any better than us in any other aspect. Wang Qiong really wanted to cry. This Li Fan was not as handsome as him. He was just an ordinary person. At most, he was a little more spirited. How could he make 3 girls fall in love with him? It wasn't 3 girls, it was 3 top-grade goddesses. He had such good qualifications and such a good family background. Why didn't they like him? How am I inferior to little tyrant? After having this thought, Wang Qiong secretly slapped himself. Fuck, I almost made things difficult for Li Fan again. Don't court death. There are plenty of women, but you only have one life. He didn't want to be Li Fan's enemy, absolutely not. Alright, stop messing around. Noticing that the other girls, including Liu Zhu, were looking at him with schadenfreude, Li Fan could no longer hold back his anger and roared. This time, the 3 women were well behaved and looked at Li Fan blankly. We're in class. Can't you study seriously? Li Fan's words caused the 3 women to roll their eyes in unison. Bang! Liao Wushuang placed a stack of papers in front of Li Fan. Do it. Finish it before the end of the evening self-study session. Ah! Li Fan almost collapsed. He hurriedly looked at Lin Yuhin. Lin Yuhin snorted, crossed her arms, and turned her head away. Li Fan looked at Murong again. The little lass stuck out her tongue, indicating that she couldn't help even if she wanted to. Fuck. It's all because of you, lass, caused me trouble, and now you're abandoning me. Li Fan wanted to cry but had no tears. Seeing Liao Wushuang's slightly angry expression, he could only sit down and obediently began to do the papers. Liu Zhu secretly took a handful of papers from Li Fan's papers and took them to do for him. Li Fan was so moved that tears welled up in his eyes. His sworn brother was so kind. Seeing that Liu Zhu had taken the initiative to help, Murong and Lin Yuhin also secretly took a few papers and began to help Li Fan. Xia, who also wanted to help Li Fan but was rejected by Li Fan. Fuck, little senior sister's cultural level is not much better than mine. I don't need her help. After a self-study session, they felt like their whole body was about to twitch. In the end, they barely finished all the papers. It's really not easy. Li Fan heaved a long sigh of relief. He thought that he could go home and rest, but the moment he stepped out of the classroom, he was blocked by Lin Yuhin. Where are you going? Lin Yuhin asked. Home. Who told you to go home? Lin Yuhin rolled her eyes. School is over. Where are you going if not home? I said that I would build you up well. Look at you, look at yourself. Indeed, Li Fan had not cleaned himself up for a long time. His hair was very long and messy, and the school uniform on his body was left behind by an unknown big brother. It was fat and big. I've said that I'm your image design consultant. Leave this to me in the future. Lin Yuhin said nothing and pulled Li Fan out. But Murong was already waiting outside with her backpack. When she saw that Lin Yuhin was going to take her brother-in-law away, she immediately reached out to stop them. Where are you going? You're so nosy. Lin Yuhin looked at Murong unhappily. Woman, don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. Humph, brother-in-law won't go with you. I'm here to watch him, Murong said and stepped forward to hold Li Fan's other arm. So what if you watch? I'm going to take him away today. I won't let you take him away. The two girls quarreled in the corridor. Both of them held on to Li Fan. No one wanted to let go. Li Fan didn't know what to do. He was in an awkward situation. Lin Yuhin suddenly rolled her eyes. She took the initiative to let go of Li Fan's hand and said, Murong, why don't we make a bet? Whoever wins will take Li Fan away. What do you think? Okay. What kind of bet? Murong had a confident look on her face. This little girl was also a very proud person. Moreover, she was good at acting. Sometimes, no one could guess what she was thinking. Let's play a game. We each take Li Fan and hide in a place. Whoever finds the other party wins. Lin Yuhin said confidently. Okay. With this school as the boundary? Yes. Not outside this school. My IQ is over 140. I don't want to bully you. You take Li Fan and hide first. I'll count to 100 here. After 100, I'll find you. No need for you to let me. You go first. I'll go find you. How could Murong stand Lin Yuhin's provocation? Really? Then you're bound to lose. Impossible. You're too conceited, Murong said. She leaned against the wall and began to count. Okay. Li Fan, let's hide for a while. Lin Yuhin pulled Li Fan downstairs and walked toward the school gate. Huh? Not going to hide? Hide your ass. Chapter 665. Li Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry at Lin Yuhin's trick. Poor Murong Ari. She had always been fooling others, but today, she was fooled by Lin Yuhin. The two of them walked out of the school. Li Fan secretly took out his phone and sent a message to Murong Ari so that she would not be anxiously looking for him. My dear Miss Lin, where are you taking me? Li Fan could not help but ask. I'm taking you to fix your image. What's wrong? Do you think I'm ugly? Li Fan could not help but ask. Not really. Lin Yuhin saw Li Fan's Audi A4 parked outside. Sun Qingchen was sitting in the driver's seat, smoking quietly. Get in. I'm taking you to tidy yourself up. Lin Yuxian pulled Li Fan into the car and didn't forget to tell him. Don't forget that you're the boss of Feifan and the head of the escort agency. Your image represents the image of our escort agency. That seems to make sense. Li Fan looked at the school in the distance and could not help but nod. Yes, it makes sense. Lin Yuxian said, now that the escort agency is on the right track, you've also become our agency's brand. It's not just me, even Ling Tian is worried about your personal image. It's not that bad, for a student, it's alright. Lin Yuhin analyzed for Li Fan. But for a boss, it's not enough. Alright, then I'll leave myself to you. Do whatever you want. Li Fan was at his wit's end. After all, Lin Yuhin was right. He was no longer alone. He was the boss of an escort agency. He could not live as he pleased. Good. That's more like it. Lin Yuhin seemed a little happy, as if she had received the best prize. Why are you so happy? Li Fan asked. Because you trust me. Lin Yuhin's reply stunned Li Fan. Although Lin Yuhin was extraordinarily intelligent, she seemed to be easily satisfied when she was with him. Was it because he didn't spend enough time with her? But there was nothing he could do about it. He was a student, but from the day Murongying appeared, he was pushed into a new world, and everything was not up to him. It was as if there was an invisible hand pushing him forward. What are you thinking about? Lin Yuhin couldn't help but ask when she saw Li Fan in a daze. I was just thinking about myself. Li Fan smiled. Do you remember when you first met me? Of course I remember. You colluded with a hooligan to deceive me. Lin Yuhin winked at Li Fan. Hey. Hee, how could I forget? At that time, I really hated you a little. I thought to myself, how could there be such a lowly person, breaking bricks with his bare hands to woo a girl? That's why you hate me. When Li Fan's words fell, Lin Yuhin was silent for a moment, and then leaned on Li Fan's body. Lin Yuhin's body was very soft and fragrant. She leaned in Li Fan's embrace, which made Li Fan want to dote on her. Li Fan. Do you know what it feels like to be a genius? How would I know? I'm not smart. My feeling is that I feel like I can see through everything. Everyone has no secrets in front of me. Lin Yuhin said, and I was born in that kind of family. I feel that I should use my IQ to earn money for my family, to help my mother share her worries. Lin Yuhin paused for a moment, as if she was adjusting her mood, but her voice sounded a little tired. I always set a goal for myself, and then work hard to achieve it. But every time the goal is easily achieved, and then there's endless emptiness. You make it sound so awesome. Don't interrupt, the feeling is gone. Let me finish. Lin Yuhin lightly patted Li Fan's leg. In my eyes, everyone is inferior to me. This is true, I always have a high opinion of myself, as if living in my own world. All my goals can be achieved, until I met you. Me? What's wrong with me? I found out that I'm smarter than you. Phut. It's your uncontrollable nature. Lin Yuhin's finger gently stroked Li Fan's leg. I found out. Everything about you, I can't control it. All my judgments about you are wrong. Li Fan, I've probably never confessed to you. But, I like you. Huh. This was indeed the first time this girl openly confessed to him. Li Fan actually did not know how to answer. You're beyond common sense. In the beginning, you probably stimulated my desire to challenge. But now indeed. I like you, Li Fan. But I have a fiancé. But you don't like her that much. Lin Yuhin suddenly raised her head and looked into Li Fan's eyes seriously, then said, Li Fan, do you know, although there are so many women around you, but it seems that you don't really like any of them. Ah. Feelings are also a kind of data, I can see it. Lin Yuhin said, when all the women appear, on average, you don't take the initiative to look at them for a long time. Instead, you look at Liu Zhu for the longest time. Stop fooling around. How could she be interested in a man? Impossible. Li Fan, you really don't know? Lin Yuhin was a little angry. Or are you pretending to be stupid? What are you talking about? I don't understand. Li Fan was a little baffled. Lin Yuhin raised her eyebrows, but suddenly did not mention this topic. Forget it, it's fine. Hey, you girl, why don't you finish your words? Humph, I just don't want to say it. Hey, am I really a homosexual? Li Fan was a little nervous. It's okay, I won't discriminate against you. Lin Yuhin laughed. After all, this is a modern society. Damn, this has nothing to do with modern or not, okay? Li Fan was about to collapse. I think I still like women. If you say so. Lin Yuhin shrugged her shoulders. Speaking of which, I think you and Yang Kai are quite compatible. The boat of friendship is about to capsize. Then let's start the wheel of love. In terms of eloquence, Li Fan was a little inferior to Lin Yuhin. Dear Boss Li, here we are. Lin Yuhin pulled Li Fan and stopped at the business street. The business street was very prosperous. Even though it was already past 10 o'clock at night, The shops here were still open and many people were shopping. Let's go. Let's start with your clothes. Chapter 666. The clothing stores closed around 12 o'clock, so Lin Yuhin decided to start with clothes. She brought Li Fan to several clothing stores and finally chose a few clothes. After choosing the clothes, it was time to trim Li Fan's hair. There was a famous hairstylist in the business district. Lin Yuhin seemed to have already booked a hairstylist for Li Fan. It was said that the hairstylist was a master who studied in France and personally did Li Fan's hair. A hairstylist cost a few thousand yuan, but Li Fan calculated that it didn't seem to cost much. This group of masters were too good at making money, it was simply robbery, earning a few thousand yuan with just a few scissors. Okay. Lin Yuhin looked at the brand new Li Fan and was very satisfied. At this time, Li Fan was wearing a casual slim-fitting suit and a pair of slender trousers. However, Li Fan didn't like wearing leather shoes no matter what, so in the end, Lin Yuhin could only give up. Moreover, even if it was a suit, Li Fan didn't like it very much. For a martial artist, this suit was really inconvenient for a fight. Even on normal days, Li Fan mostly wore sportswear. The material of your suit is relatively soft, and it's very tough. Lin Yuhin seemed to see through Li Fan's thoughts and reminded him, also, the clothes I bought for you are all made of the same material, it won't affect your exercise. Alright, you're considerate. Li Fan was very grateful to Lin Yuhin. After all, she was the one who helped him build up his image. Li Fan. You've changed a lot. Lin Yuhin and Li Fan walked on the pedestrian street. She stuck to Li Fan's side and said, Me? How have I changed? When I first met you, you were like a small cannon, exploding at the slightest touch. Lin Yuhin said, but more than a year has passed, and you've become a lot more mature. You've become a lot steadier, and your temper has also softened. Now that you mention it, it is a little. Li Fan laughed. Do you like me more now? H, your shamelessness hasn't changed. Ah, I don't want that to change. You bastard. H, I'll give you a chance. Treat me to a meal. Lin Yuhin gently rubbed her flat belly. I'm hungry. Alright, I'll treat you to something delicious. Li Fan glanced at the commercial street. Indeed, there were many good restaurants on both sides of the street. There was a beautiful fountain in front, and a man dressed in black stood in front of the fountain. He took out a lighter and slowly lit up a cigarette. Li Fan was talking to Lin Yuhin when he suddenly felt something. He picked up Lin Yuhin and dodged to the side. A formless wind blade brushed past their clothes and swept outward. A deep gully appeared on the ground, as if it was cut by a 40-meter-long knife. Pa. The man in black closed the lighter and raised his head. He was a foreigner with blonde hair and blue eyes. Hi. This man spoke English. Fortunately, Li Fan could understand him. Good evening. Who are you? Li Fan frowned as he looked at the foreign man in front of him. They all call me Archangel. The foreign man announced his name. At the same time, the clothes on his back tore open and a pair of white wings spread out, causing the surrounding people to scream. Li Fan, who is he? Lin Yuhin was also shocked. A person with wings? The 4 horsemen of the Golden Empire. Li Fan knew that the other party was a mutant. He did not hesitate to put Lin Yuhin down and let her stand to the side. Stand here and don't run around. After saying that, Li Fan threw out his good guy card. A golden light flashed in the sky, and Murong Ying, who was wearing a golden flying lion armor, descended from the sky and squatted in front of Lin Yuhin. Like a divine soldier descending from the sky, she slowly got up and picked up her golden lion shield. Lin Yuhin was a bit shocked. She knew that Li Fan knew Kung Fu, but what was the situation now? Was this Kung Fu? Her mind turned quickly, and she soon thought of something else. Superpower? This is the ability of the new director of the Special Abilities Bureau. The Archangel flapped his wings and shook off his white feathers. He looked at Li Fan with a smile and said, Hand over the people from the Special Abilities Bureau, and I will spare your life. You're just a barbarian. What a big tone, Li Fan sneered. Now that you're in China, It seems I'll have to teach you Chinese rules. Is that so? The archangel said and flapped his wings. A wind blade immediately flew out and slashed at a passerby next to him. Li Fan frowned. He flicked his feet and instantly appeared in front of that person, smashing the wind blade with a palm strike. However, there was a ghastly ravine on the ground, causing everyone to shriek. Run! Li Fan roared, but more and more people came to watch. The archangel flapped his wings and sent another wind blade at a passerby in another direction. Li Fan operated his qinggong to the extreme and quickly appeared on the other side. He then lifted his foot and smashed the archangel's wind blade. However, the archangel's other wind blade hit Li Fan's back, sending Li Fan flying and rolling on the ground. Li Fan got up again and glared at the archangel. Had it not been for his true energy protecting his body, he would have been cut in half. Chinese martial artists are nothing more than this. The archangel flapped his wings and flew up, landing on the fountain behind him. He then looked at Li Fan with a smile. It's still not too late to hand over the people from the Special Abilities Bureau. The people around took out their mobile phones and began to take videos. They had no idea how dangerous the situation was. In front of these people, Li Fan could not use his true strength. Not only was he afraid of being exposed, but he was also afraid of hurting innocent people with his strength. Since when did your Golden Empire become so interested in my China's Special Abilities Bureau? Mr. Yang is dead. The archangel leisurely said, if you want to know the secret of Demon Island, you can only ask your China's prophet. He looked at the people around him who were watching the show, and his smile became wider. Look, there are so many people here to kill. I can slowly play with you. Li Fan frowned. This is really not fun anymore. At this time, Lin Yuhin turned her head and ordered Sun Qingchen, who had just rushed over. Shoot. Sun Qingchen nodded and directly pulled out a pistol from behind his waist and fired 3 shots into the sky. Bang! 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 After the 3 shots, everyone on the pedestrian street screamed and ran away. The archangel frowned and looked at Lin Yuhin with an unfriendly gaze. It seems that a little mouse likes to meddle in other people's business. The archangel said and once again threw a wind blade at Sun Qingchen. Just as Li Fan was about to act, a beautiful woman carrying a shield suddenly stood in front of Sun Qingchen and directly used a silver lion shield to block the wind blade. Chapter 667. Wang Xiaoyuan, wearing a complete set of silver lion armor, stood there expressionlessly, blocking the wind blade with her shield. Li Fan was a little surprised. Wang Xiaoyuan seemed to have evolved. Sorry, I'm late. Bai Lin Luo stood on the roof next to him, and beside him stood a woman in tawny armor, holding a bow and arrow in her hand. Lin Yuhin looked a little sluggish, as if she couldn't believe her eyes. Liu Xinnan? No. Her expression was wrong. However, Lin Yuhin quickly calmed down. It seemed that it really was a superpower. Being by Li Fan's side, one must quickly accept new things. Probably only Lin Yuhin had this ability. Damn it. The archangel was obviously a little angry, and the wings behind him were about to flap. However, at this moment, a figure flashed out and directly kicked the archangel in the face, immediately sending him flying. The archangel flapped his wings continuously, stabilizing his body and falling to the side. Who's there? A small figure stood there, slowly patting the dust off his trousers. Oh, you're quite thick-skinned. My feet are numb from the shock. Li Fan was a little surprised and glanced at Le Xiaohu. Le Xiaohu turned around and asked his master for credit. Master, I've been practicing hard recently. Not bad. Li Fan couldn't help but praise Le Xiaohu. However, Le Xiaohu seemed to be a little carried away and didn't notice that a wind blade had already arrived behind him. Li Fan blocked in front of Le Xiaohu and directly smashed the wind blade with his palm. He reached out and touched Le Xiaohu's head. Let's practice more. With Le Xiaohu's current strength, he was only at the beginner's level. However, he had trained his body and was obviously much stronger, surpassing the archangel who only used his superpower to fight. Only then did he succeed in kicking the opponent away. However, the archangel was one of the 4 knights of the Golden Empire after all. If he got serious, Le Xiaohu would almost be killed instantly. At this time, Li Fan stood in front of Le Xiaohu, giving Le Xiaohu a strong sense of security. He stood behind his master. Looking at his master's tall back, he felt at ease. Le Xiaohu's development was slow. Although he should be in his first year of high school, he was still only 1.62 meters tall. However, he would still grow, especially after he started practicing martial arts. At the very least, he would be able to grow a lot faster. Therefore, standing behind Li Fan, Le Xiaohu looked a lot shorter. But he felt that even if he grew taller than his master in the future, he would still have to look up to him, the feeling of looking up to a tall mountain. Master was really like a mountain, so majestic and lofty. Archangel, you want to touch my disciple without asking me? Li Fan crossed his arms and stood there, looking at the Archangel. Li Fan, do you think that without those useless hostages, you can defeat me? The Archangel flicked his cigarette away. With a sneer, he looked at Li Fan disdainfully. I am one of the 4 knights of the Golden Empire, a powerful Archangel. If I want to kill you, I only need to move a finger. Is that so? Bring it on. Li Fan was very calm. He crooked his finger at the Archangel. The Archangel immediately stared, and the wings on his back shot out a wind blade. There was no one around, so Li Fan could go all out. He directly turned around and kicked out a crescent kick. The air was torn apart, and the wind blade and the kick were torn together. What surprised the Archangel was that the opponent's kick actually tore apart his wind blade and appeared in front of him in the blink of an eye. He didn't dare to hesitate. He immediately flapped his wings and flew up. Bang! The fountain was directly cut into 2, and water gushed out continuously. The Archangel still had some lingering fear. He flew in the air, looking for an opportunity to attack Li Fan. The Archangel's wings flapped a few times, and he constantly created wind blades, attacking Li Fan in the air. In the 9 Buddha Sutra that Li Fan learned, there was a move called Subduing the Dragon, which was specially used to deal with Qinggong experts in the air. However, Li Fan didn't want to rely on the 9 Buddha Sutra. He constantly kicked out crescent kicks, shattering the Archangel's attacks. That's all there is to it. Le Xiaohu relaxed a little. Oh, if it were you, how would you defeat him? Li Fan only taught Le Xiaohu some basic mantras, and didn't teach him any martial arts. He wanted to know how Le Xiaohu would deal with the enemy in front of him. This person relies on flying to maintain his invincibility. Le Xiaohu hid behind Li Fan, and was very safe. He expressed his opinion, as long as he lands, he's finished. Do you have a way to make him land? Well, I can do it with my ability. Le Xiaohu said confidently. Your ability? Isn't it eliminating underwear? With the improvement of my strength, my superpower has also evolved. Superpower can evolve. However, looking at Wang Xiaoyuan in the silver lion armor, Li Fan felt that Le Xiaohu's words were possible. Yes, but give me a way to defeat the Archangel with only fighting skills. Le Xiaohu was stunned for a moment, as if he didn't expect his master to ask this. However, he thought for a moment and said, there is. Oh, tell me about it. Master's dragon toad's ingestion can pull him down. He flies very fast and is very cunning. He won't be easily hit by my dragon toad's ingestion. Then Master will use Qinggong to catch up to him, then defeat him. That's a good idea, but Qinggong is not as flexible as flying. Le Xiaohu was a little puzzled. What else could he do? Use your brain and it'll be fine. As Li Fan said this, he stretched out both hands and activated the Golden Toad's Spitting Pearls ability. Li Fan grabbed a ball of energy in each hand and threw it at the Archangel one after the other. The Archangel flapped his wings and easily dodged Li Fan's energy cannon. Haha, are you kidding me? The Archangel laughed. However, Li Fan winked at him. The Archangel suddenly realized something and turned to look. The 2 balls of energy had collided and exploded, setting off a frenzied airflow in the air. The Archangel could no longer control his flight. The airflow was chaotic, and his wings could no longer control his body. The Archangel spun in the air and finally smashed hard on the ground. Le Xiaohu looked at this scene dumbfoundedly. Fuck, master is too strong. It turned out that fighting was not only about using fists and feet, but also using one's brain. Li Fan took advantage of the fact that the archangel had not stood up and directly appeared above his head. Wait a minute. Before the archangel could finish his sentence, Li Fan had already kicked his head. Bang! The archangel was directly hit by Li Fan and was kicked into the ground. Chapter 668. What kind of leg strength does Li Fan have? He is many times stronger than Le Xiaohu. His kick left the archangel dumbfounded. The archangel only felt a buzz in his head, as though he was hit by a train. Because his mental power suffered a serious blow, his pair of wings retracted. Little Four Eyes. Li Fan signaled to Bai Lin Luo, who was far away. Bai Lin Luo nodded and waved his hand. Liu Xinnan of Sagittarius constellation immediately drew her bow. Swish, swish, swish. 4 arrows pierced through the air and directly pierced through the archangel's 4 limbs, nailing him to the ground. Bai Lin Luo is very decisive in doing things, without the slightest bit of hesitation. Sometimes, he is even more ruthless than Li Fan. Li Fan, it's been hard on you. Leave the rest to us. Bai Lin Luo was brought down by Sagittarius Lin Yuhin and landed beside Li Fan. Lin Yuhin still felt that it was a little strange. She stood by the side and watched the show. The sound of a police siren could be heard. Obviously, the police were alerted. I'll go back with you. Li Fan said, old son, you take Lin Yuhin and leave first. Yes, boss. Sun Qingchen nodded and tried to take Lin Yuhin away. But Lin Yuhin did not want to leave. She glanced at Li Fan. Li Fan said, go back first. You can't handle the matters here. All right. Come back safely. Lin Yuhin knew that she would only be a burden to Li Fan if she went. She followed Sun Qingchen and left. Sun Qingchen had a lot of experience and was very experienced. Li Fan can rest assured handing Lin Yuhin over to him. He and Bai Lin Luo looked at each other. Then, they took a hidden pickup truck and drove all the way to the riverside. Through a newly opened tunnel, they entered the hull of the Special Abilities Bureau's ship. Boss Li, you're here too? When Susu saw Li Fan walking over, she was very friendly. Long time no see. Did you miss me? You seem to have lost some weight. Li Fan did not answer Susu, but changed the topic. It's all right. It's just that I can't go out for a walk. It's a little boring. Susu sighed, seemingly a little sad. Recently, the search for mutants has become stricter. Bai Lin Luo explained, moreover, many people are interested in the Special Abilities Bureau's prophet. The prophet's ability was omniscient and omniscient. There are countless people who covet him. Can I see the prophet? Li Fan was very interested in this prophet. Sure. Bai Lin Luo readily agreed. Susu, continue searching for information here. I'll take Li Fan down to have a look. Yes, Chief. Although Susu wanted to accompany Li Fan, the chief's order could not be disobeyed. Xiaohu, go and practice first. I'll look for you later. Li Fan also instructed Le Xiaohu. The latter nodded and happily went to practice. This tripod ship was divided into 3 floors. The prophet's skull was stored on the lowest floor. The top floor was the combat area, and the middle floor was the living area. The two took the elevator all the way to the lowest floor. Xiaohu has grown a lot recently. When they came down, Li Fan did not forget to chat with Bai Lin Luo about Xiaohu. Well, what happened last time was a big blow to him. Bai Lin Luo nodded. Not only is he practicing, but he has also been working hard in his studies recently. Fortunately, the Special Abilities Bureau has teachers and online courses. Otherwise, I'm worried that these children won't be able to keep up with their cultural classes. I've made you worry. Li Fan patted him on the shoulder. He's just a high school student like me, but he's in charge of such a big place. It's not easy for you to be in charge of an escort agency. I always feel a little guilty for not being by your side to help you. Bai Lin Luo looked ashamed, but Li Fan comforted him. Don't worry, there's still Ling Tian. That girl Lin Yuhin has been doing a good job recently. Her IQ isn't for nothing. That's good. Bai Lin Luo breathed a sigh of relief. The agency is running well now. You don't have to worry too much about my side. Li Fan comforted him. Just take care of the Special Abilities Bureau. The Special Abilities Bureau was fine a while ago. Bai Lin Luo said. But recently, whether it's Hunter, the Golden Empire, or the Cleaners, they are all after us. They want to get the profit and find Demon Island. Some of Hunter's people actually want to rely on me to find Demon Island. Li Fan pointed to his head. Before Mr. Young died, he told me about Demon Island. Then, you should find someone to protect you. Bai Lin Luo pondered for a moment. Who should I send? The Special Abilities Bureau doesn't have any experts now. How about I give you another good guy card? No, Murong Ying's S card is enough. Li Fan said, you have to take care of the entire Special Abilities Bureau, so keep a few more cards in your hand. By the way, why does Wang Xiaoyuan look different? She evolved. Bai Lin Luo knew everything. With my breakthrough, she also evolved from a B card to an A card. Yo, you're amazing, bro. Haha, not bad. Superpowers can be upgraded. Didn't we say it in the first lesson? Can the S card continue to evolve? Li Fan could not help but ask. I don't think so. Bai Lin Luo shook his head. Moreover, the ability of my upgrade card is also based on the frequent use of the good guy card and the improvement of the proficiency of the good guy card. Excluding combat, if I want to evolve a B card, I have to make her appear every day for at least a month. If it's an S card, it will take at least a year for it to evolve. But after Wang Xiaoyuan evolved, she seems to have silver armor. Normally, Leo should have golden armor, right? Well, normally, Leo should have golden armor. However, after the evolution, it seems to be slightly different. It's all silver. I see. I really don't know the principle behind it. Li Fan shrugged. Superpowers are really unreasonable. My ability is probably a little special. Most abilities have some scientific reasoning. As Bai Lin Luo spoke, he had already brought Li Fan to the lowest level and came to a door with a few heavy locks. Li Fan could see that the prophet was well protected. Bai Lin Luo used his palm to unlock the lock and the door opened. Inside was a secret room. There was a large water trough inside and there seemed to be some special liquid in it. And in the liquid, there was a skull. It was very strange. This is the prophet. Although he is dead, his spirit is not extinguished. Bai Lin Luo introduced. Say hello to him. Li Fan looked at the skull and felt a little strange. It was as if it was also looking at him. Chapter 669. Li Fan didn't know why, but he felt that the skull seemed to be alive. It was as if a living person was floating in the nutrient solution, looking at him. Almost subconsciously, Li Fan reached out his hand and gently touched the glass of the nutrition tank. Like an electric current striking him, Li Fan's body shook slightly, and a series of images appeared in his mind. Demon Island. A gloomy and ghostly island floated alone on the sea. There seemed to be something terrible on that island, causing Li Fan to stay away from it. The image flashed again, and it seemed that a hand was reaching out to grab him. Li Fan suddenly woke up, sweating profusely as he looked at the skull in front of him. But almost in an instant, his consciousness was pulled back. Images continued to flash in Li Fan's mind. Li Fan saw that there were 9 pages of the 9 Buddha Sutra placed in front of him. A handsome man was standing in front of him, slowly concealing the 9 Buddha Sutra. Liu Jinchan. Li Fan was shocked. He actually saw Liu Jinchan, and he even saw the entire 9 Buddha Sutra. Li Fan wanted to take a step forward to take a closer look. But that Liu Jinchan seemed to be smiling at him and then reached out with his palm, immediately pushing him away. Li Fan returned to reality once again and stared blankly at the skull. At that moment, he seemed to realize how terrifying the value of this skull was. He put his palm on his waist, his palm containing power as if he wanted to smash the nutrient tank. At that moment, a hand was placed on his shoulder. Li Fan turned around and saw Bai Lin Luo looking at him. Li Fan, what's wrong? It's nothing. Cold sweat dripped down from Li Fan's head. He finally realized how terrifying the temptation of this skull was. An omniscient skull that could even see the past and the future. Its power was too terrifying. For the Special Abilities Bureau, the power of the Prophet is indispensable. Bai Lin Luo explained, just now, I received a hint from the Prophet, that's why I was able to appear beside you in time. This is too magical. As for superpowers, Li Fan felt that they were quite powerful. Unlike his own true energy, this kind of power was even more unfathomable. We didn't make good use of the Prophet's power in the past, so our Special Abilities Bureau has fallen to this point. Bai Lin Luo looked at the Prophet's skull and said, but from now on, this will never happen again. A glint flashed across Bai Lin Luo's eyes. Don't bear the pressure alone. I will help you protect the Special Abilities Bureau. Li Fan patted him on the shoulder. Yes, I'll need your help financially. Bai Lin Luo was a little ashamed. The Special Abilities Bureau is huge, and there are a lot of places that need money. The daily maintenance of the tripod ship, the daily necessities of the crew, daily expenses. Don't worry. Leave these to me. Li Fan patted Bai Lin Luo's shoulder. We are brothers, so there's no need to be so polite. Li Fan felt that it was better to keep a distance from this Prophet. It would be safer for him. I'll go up and see Xiaohu first. Okay, guide him more in martial arts. He has reached a bottleneck here and needs your help. Bai Lin Luo said, I still have some questions to ask the Prophet, so I won't accompany you. All right. Li Fan turned and went upstairs. As he closed the door, Bai Lin Luo gently pressed his hand against the glass. Sure enough, Le Xiaohu was obediently practicing martial arts. Ever since the last incident, he had become very hardworking. At this time, Le Xiaohu was reading a high school English textbook while squatting in a horse stance. Seeing Li Fan coming in, Le Xiaohu couldn't help but feel a bit excited. Master, take this. Le Xiaohu threw the English book at Li Fan. Li Fan reached out and caught the English book. But Le Xiaohu had already run in front of him. He was relatively young, so his physical toughness was relatively good. His foundation was better than Li Fan's. This Le Xiaohu's body bent down and his hands spread out in front of him. He actually had the posture of a little tiger. His hands tore at Li Fan, but were slapped away by Li Fan's crane hand. But Le Xiaohu's attack speed was getting faster and faster. His claws seemed to tear through the air. With the sound of breaking through the air, he continuously grabbed at Li Fan. Li Fan displayed the crane hand and slapped away Le Xiaohu's attacks one after another. Although Le Xiaohu's attack rhythm was fast, it was too monotonous and could not escape Li Fan's judgment. Li Fan's movements were very slow and the rhythm was very relaxed. Every time he casually used the crane hand, he would be able to slap away Le Xiaohu's fatal blow. As for the other attacks, Li Fan could only rely on his footwork to avoid them. Le Xiaohu seemed to be a little anxious. His tiger claws could not hit his master even once. Your attack is still lacking a bit of maturity. Li Fan attacked while giving advice to his disciple. Don't make too many useless attacks and don't make too many small movements. Adjust your breathing. Your tiger fist posture is good, but you can't just imitate the movements. You have to master the breathing of a tiger. Choose the vital points and attack the vital points. Don't attack the useless part. Li Fan constantly corrected some of Le Xiaohu's mistakes, and Le Xiaohu's attacks became more and more skillful. Even Li Fan was surprised by the speed at which he became proficient. Although he knew that Le Xiaohu was talented and had a clear bone structure, he did not expect him to be this powerful. Although Li Fan had a pure young body and the unique 5 flowers blossoming, he was strong in internal force. In the cultivation of external force, Li Fan was not good at it. Most of the time, he relied on hard training. However, Le Xiaohu was different. He was very fast in the honing of external force. With just a few pointers from Li Fan, he had almost comprehended it. Under Li Fan's guidance, Le Xiaohu made rapid progress. Soon, his attacks became more and more methodical. There were a few times when he almost broke through Li Fan's defense and attacked his vital points. Of course, the premise was that Li Fan did not use his internal force and only used his body to fight with Le Xiaohu. Le Xiaohu suddenly lifted his leg and directly hit Li Fan's lower abdomen, causing Li Fan to take a step back. Amazing, Li Fan was a little surprised. Wasn't this his tiger tail whip? He spent a long time to comprehend it, but he did not expect Le Xiaohu to comprehend it so quickly. It seemed that Le Xiaohu's attainment in Tiger Fist was far higher than his. Ha! Le Xiaohu suddenly clawed at Li Fan's throat, but Li Fan bent down and directly hit Le Xiaohu with beating the tiger, sending Le Xiaohu flying. Ouch! Master, don't use the 7 Brilliance Fist. Le Xiaohu rubbed his bruised face and said with grievance. Chapter 670. Xiaohu, the tiger form fist is indeed suitable for you. Li Fan looked at Le Xiaohu, who was rubbing his nose, and said, but the tiger form fist is not your focus. Today, I will pass on the complete 7 hero fist to you. With that, Li Fan stretched out his hand and used the dragon toad's absorption of water, directly pulling Le Xiaohu to his side. Xiaohu, you have never practiced martial arts before. Today, I will pass on 10% of my power to you to help you open up your meridians and reach the point of perfection. Li Fan's dragon toad's absorption of water began to reverse the flow and directly poured true qi into Le Xiaohu's body. Le Xiaohu's face turned red, and his whole body felt as if cement was poured into it. It was extremely uncomfortable. He felt his body swollen like it was going to split open. 10% of Li Fan's power was not something an ordinary person could bear. Li Fan's current strength was at the peak of the 5 dragons, and his true qi was pure. 1 dragon was equal to 5 tigers, and 1 tiger was equal to 5 oxen. This 10% of Li Fan's power was close to the strength of 3 tigers. This was also because Le Xiaohu's bones were clear, so Li Fan dared to try to inject 10% of true qi into him. Le Xiaohu's veins bulged all over his body, and he felt that he would explode and die at any time. Master, it's so uncomfortable. Bear with it, it will be over soon. As Li Fan spoke, his true qi had already filled Le Xiaohu's meridians. Li Fan smoothly opened up Le Xiaohu's conception and governing vessels. After all, they were all his disciples, so it was just a small effort. Li Fan let go of his hand, and Le Xiaohu knelt on the ground with both hands on the floor. He looked like he was in pain. Le Xiaohu had never felt so uncomfortable before. His blood vessels were extremely swollen, almost tearing Le Xiaohu's body apart. Li Fan also had this feeling before, especially when he received true qi from Murong Ying for the first time. He was so sad that he almost died. Fortunately, he had a pure young body, so he quickly digested it. Le Xiaohu was also fine. After lying down for a while, he slowly digested the true qi in his body and felt much more comfortable. Little tiger, although I'm your master, I can't always come over to teach you, nor can I bring you with me. This is my fault. Li Fan felt a little regretful. However, I will teach you everything I should. You don't have to learn all of the 7 hero fists. You just have to master one. Li Fan assumed the posture of the tiger fist. His body suddenly shook, and then he entered a domineering state. Le Xiaohu looked at his master with some admiration. Black Tiger Emperor. This was one of the essentials of Shifu's 7 heroes fist. Pay attention to my condition. Whether or not you can comprehend the Black Tiger Emperor will depend on your own comprehension. Li Fan said, only by comprehending the Black Tiger Emperor can you comprehend the later beating the tiger. Yes, master. Le Xiaohu respectfully knelt there, meticulously observing Li Fan. The Black Tiger Emperor was a very advanced and powerful state. To learn it, it required a certain amount of time and comprehension. Li Fan maintained the state of the Black Tiger Emperor for a while, then slowly dispersed. How much did you learn? Li Fan asked. Just a little. Le Xiaohu was a little ashamed. How much is a little? Li Fan asked. Le Xiaohu stood up, took a few steps back, and then his eyes sharpened. A wave of aura immediately spread out, and Li Fan's body trembled. Fuck, Although it was not the aura of an emperor like Li Fan, it was full of a domineering aura, a little domineering aura that people did not dare to look directly at. This kid just looked at it for a while, and he already comprehended so much. Li Fan couldn't help but take a closer look at Le Xiaohu. This kid was indeed a promising talent. Master, how is it? Unfortunately, it only lasted for 3 seconds. Le Xiaohu only maintained it for 3 seconds before the state of the Black Tiger Emperor dissipated. It's not bad, but you have to work harder. Li Fan did not want to praise Le Xiaohu too much, lest he became arrogant. Got it, Master. Le Xiaohu nodded. I will definitely work hard. Okay, good luck. Li Fan did not say much, the rest was up to Le Xiaohu to comprehend by himself. He gave Le Xiaohu some pointers on his external techniques, and it was getting late. You have to practice more. When it comes to martial arts, the fist never leaves the hand, and the song never leaves the mouth. If you slack off one day, you will fall behind. Before leaving, Li Fan reminded Le Xiaohu. Got it, Master. Take care. Le Xiaohu respectfully sent Li Fan off. On the way back, Li Fan was still a little preoccupied. Now, there were too many enemies on all sides. With so many of them popping up all at once, Li Fan did not know who to deal with. Moreover, most people knew about his relationship with the Special Abilities Bureau. In order to get the profit, they would definitely go to the Special Abilities Bureau. And for the sake of the Special Abilities Bureau, they would definitely find him first. Li Fan glanced at the city that was slowly falling asleep, and he was thinking about a problem. Would it be better for him to hide himself like the Special Abilities Bureau did? Li Fan thought about it and gave up on this idea. This was something only a coward would do. As a martial artist, he should be able to hold the pass alone against 10,000 enemies. Li Fan returned home and suddenly felt relieved when he arrived at this small Western-style building. Was it because Murong Ying lived here too? You're back. To Li Fan's surprise, Murong Ying was still sitting on the sofa in the living room, holding an English classic in her hand. Still awake. Waiting for you to come back. Murong Ying slowly closed the book in her hand and looked at Li Fan seriously, saying, Li Fan, it's my father's birthday next month. Ah, you're going to Murong Villa again. Li Fan frowned slightly. Unwilling. You've seen it these few times. Li Fan smiled bitterly. I really can't get along with Patriarch Murong. Moreover, it's not just about Murong Bo. The entire Murong Villa doesn't like me very much. I can understand you. Murong Ying said frankly, not long ago, Murong Villa also didn't like me. But he's the world's #1 expert, and his birthday party is world famous. You and I must go back. All right, I won't make things difficult for you. I'll go back. Li Fan agreed, which made Murong Ying look at Li Fan a few more times. Why are you looking at me like that? If it was in the past, you'd definitely quarrel with me. We've known each other for more than a year, and I've grown up a lot. Li Fan smiled. I'm the chief escort of Faifan Escort Agency. I can't still act like a child, right? You've indeed matured a lot. Today's clothes are not bad. Murong Ying praised sincerely. You waited for me until so late just to tell me this. It'll be the same tomorrow morning. Li Fan blinked his eyes. Could it be that you miss me? Who would miss you? Murong Ying's cheeks blushed, which was very beautiful. Chapter 671. Murong Ying is also shy, although the number of times she is shy is very rare, but this shows how precious it is. We are an old couple, what is there to be shy about? Who is shy? Murong Ying glares at Li Fan. I think you are seeing things. It is time to see a doctor. Wife, do you know, you are the cutest at this time. What nonsense. Murong Ying turns around, as if she does not want to see Li Fan. I have said what I want to say. You go back to sleep. Wifey, look, I'm back safe and sound. Shouldn't we make a child? Li Fan asks with a smile. Sure. Murong Ying does not look back, she just stretches out her hand. The sword hanging on the wall immediately flies down and falls into her hand. You have to ask the sword in my hand first. Fuck, You are looking down on me. Li Fan looks at the hero's sword hanging on the other wall, thinks for a moment, and finally gives up. Using the hero's sword to hit his wife is a bit exaggerated. You are really a person. A few days ago we agreed. Why did you change your mind today? Because you are not pleasing to the eye these few days. Murong Ying turns around again, her expression has returned to normal. She raises her sword and points it at Li Fan. Since you have inherited the hero's sword, why don't we have a few sword moves, how about it? Looking at Murong Ying's expression, it is clear that she is serious. Fuck, are you really going to do it? Li Fan looks at Murong Ying with some surprise. Of course, I want to test your sword skills. Murong Ying says. She stretches out her hand. The hero's sword hanging on the wall has already left its sheath, and with a dang sound, it stabs in front of Li Fan's feet. I do not use the hero's sword. Li Fan waved his hand, and the hero's sword left the ground and flew back into its scabbard. He pulled out the black sword that could transform from his waist. With a flick of his wrist, the blade elongated into a normal-sized sword. Oh, why not use the hero's sword? Murong Ying raised her eyebrows. Hero's sword? I'm not a hero yet. I don't deserve the name of this sword. Li Fan held his black sword and explained seriously, besides, the sword in my hand is more convenient. I even gave it a name, Extraordinary. That suits your style. Murong Ying raised her sword again. The level of swordsmanship isn't determined by the sword, but by the person. Li Fan, let me see how your swordsmanship is now. With that, Murong Ying stepped on the wind and appeared in front of Li Fan in an instant. A sword was thrust directly at Li Fan's throat. Murong Ying's swordsmanship was exquisite and could be called the best in the world. Without hesitation, Li Fan raised his black sword and blocked in front of him. Clang! The tip of Murong Ying's sword hit Li Fan's sword. The two swords separated upon contact, creating sparks. Murong Ying brandished her sword. Her swordsmanship was very clean, but it didn't lose its elegance. Like floating clouds and flowing water, she attacked Li Fan in succession. However, Li Fan was no longer a greenhorn. Although his internal energy was only at the level of 5 dragons, each of his moves had the demeanor of a master. Li Fan used the charming and gentle swordsmanship to easily deflect Murong Ying's sword, making Murong Ying's attack unable to get close to Li Fan. However, Murong Ying was a swordsmanship expert. She suddenly saw an opening in Li Fan's defense and raised her sword. Clang! Li Fan's sword flew out of his hand and slashed at the wall beside him. Meanwhile, Murong Ying's sword was already stabbing at Li Fan's left eye. Li Fan didn't panic. He stretched out 2 fingers, gathered his true chi, and flicked Murong Ying's sword. At the same time that Murong Ying's sword was deflected, he stretched out his left hand and used the dragon toad's absorption of water to pull the sword back. He grabbed it in his hand and thrust it at Murong Ying's throat. Murong Ying also stretched out 2 fingers and deflected Li Fan's sword. Both of them took a step back and adjusted their positions. Then, they got closer to each other again. Their swords left after images and collided several times in the air. Sparks flew everywhere. Their swordsmanship became faster and faster. The two of them used their powers at the acme of perfection at the same time, just to display a sword technique. Clang! Their swords collided again and both of them retreated. Murong Ying lowered her sword and looked at Li Fan. She said slowly, "Your swordsmanship has indeed improved, but it's messy and doesn't have your own style." Li Fan didn't refute her. After all, most of his swordsmanship was modified from Murong's swordsmanship and Mount Hua swordsmanship. It lacked his own style. Even the charming sword technique was modified by him, so it couldn't be said to be his own swordsmanship. Li Fan was good at fighting with nothing. His skills with weapons were indeed a little weak. I heard that you have a swordsmanship called God-slaying. It seems very powerful. Why don't you show it to me? Murong Ying looked at Li Fan curiously. Forget it. Li Fan shook his head. The God-slaying swordsmanship is too domineering. I can't control my strength well. If something happens to you, I'll be the one who will feel sorry. Am I that weak? Let's talk about it when there's a chance. Li Fan didn't want to show this move to Murong Ying. If something really happened to her, he would be the one who would feel sorry. I'm not like those opponents you've met, Murong Ying emphasized. Don't be afraid. Come on. Damn, I'm like a young lady on her first night of marriage. Li Fan kept his black sword and clapped his hands. I'm done. I'm tired. I still have to go to school tomorrow. I'm going to sleep. Are you going to participate in the school's expansion program? Murong Ying suddenly asked. Of course. Everyone is going. If I don't go, wouldn't it look too pretentious? Li Fan was a handsome man who liked to keep a low profile. Oh, all right. Go to bed early. Murong Ying seemed a little disappointed. Li Fan didn't come home often in a month. Sometimes, Murong Ying suddenly wondered if it was a good thing for her to bring Li Fan on this martial arts path. In the past, he was like a child who was protected by her. But now, he was getting farther and farther away from her. Li Fan didn't know Murong Ying's thoughts. He was indeed a little sleepy. Returning to his room, he lay down on the bed and prepared to sleep. But just as Li Fan was about to sleep, he vaguely felt something was wrong. He reached out and pulled Taizhu out from under the bed. What the hell are you doing here? I'm afraid son-in-law will have nightmares. Accompanying you to sleep. Accompanying your sister. Li Fan lifted his foot and kicked Taizhu out. Taizhu rubbed his butt and stood at the door, watching Murong Ying coming up. Miss, son-in-law's martial arts are getting better and better. I'm no longer his opponent. Taizhu, do you really like Li Fan that much? Murong Ying suddenly asked. While Li Fan was sleeping, inside the Special Abilities Bureau, Archangel was thrown into the prison. This prison is made of special materials that can eliminate the spiritual force of mutants. He lay on the cold ground, gnashing his teeth and seeming to be very angry. There was only dim light around him, and without his spiritual force, he couldn't see clearly in the darkness. After the guard threw him into the prison, he turned around and left the room. At that moment, the prison seemed to have become even darker. Archangel turned his head and saw an acquaintance sitting next to him, staring at him with a smile. Poseidon, why are you here? Archangel sat up and looked at his companion who had disappeared for many years. Didn't you run away long ago? Why are you here? How long have you been captured by them? Don't be nervous, Fred. Poseidon called out Archangel's name as soon as he opened his mouth. We haven't seen each other for so many years. Why do you still like to cry? Poseidon, you shameless guy. Archangel sneered. When the Creator was trapped, you were the first to run away. For me to be able to meet you here today, it's simply the blessing of the Creator. Your lifespan is up, Poseidon. First of all, I want to thank you for your loyalty to the Creator. Poseidon nodded at Archangel. You are a good and loyal slave. But do you think you can defeat me here? Unlike Archangel, Archangel's body was slightly thin and weak. Poseidon's body, on the other hand, was very strong. If they really fought, Archangel would probably be put down by Poseidon in a few moves. For the Creator, I can sacrifice everything, even my life. Archangel sneered. Anyway, I won't live long here. Let me save my last bit of value for killing a traitor like you. Archangel Fred. Poseidon smiled. I'm sure the Creator will be touched by your words. I don't need you to tell me that. Fred bumped into Poseidon, but Poseidon reached out a hand and grabbed Fred's forehead. Poseidon only used one hand, but he used some kind of magic to forcibly hold Fred's body in place. Fred could not move and could only look in horror at this coward who liked to run away. Praise you. As Poseidon spoke, Fred's spiritual power was suddenly sucked away by Poseidon. Fred screamed. He looked at Poseidon in pain, his eyes slowly changing from horror to surprise. It's you. Fred lost all his spiritual power and was thrown to the ground by Poseidon. He lay there with a strange smile on his face. Fred was still alive, but he was no different from a dead man. Have a good sleep. Poseidon took a deep breath as if he was enjoying his current state. I will take your share and complete our great cause. Poseidon looked at the glass in front of him and smiled. The guard walked in and was shocked to see the archangel lying on the ground with saliva dripping from the corner of his mouth. He was about to open the cell door and walk in when a hand pressed down on his shoulder. "Don't go in." Bai Lin Luo stood behind the guard and pressed down on his shoulder to remind him. Bai Lin Luo, Director Bai. Poseidon stood in the cell, no longer looking timid. Instead, he put his hands behind his back and looked like a king who had descended. He looked at Bai Lin Luo opposite him. A prophet's superpower is very useful, isn't it? There was a bulletproof glass between them, but Poseidon's gaze made Bai Lin Luo feel very insecure. It was as if the glass did not exist and Poseidon was standing right in front of him. But it's a bit of a waste to leave this thing with you. Chapter 673. Bai Lin Luo immediately pressed a switch, and an electric current flowed through the glass. "This is a special electromagnetic wave," Bai Lin Luo said. "It's specialized in suppressing spiritual power. I like to double my insurance before I do anything. Director Bai, you are indeed quite smart. You are a good opponent." Poseidon clapped his hands as if he was praising him. "The prophet's ability is not bad, but do you know where his ability came from?" Bai Lin Luo looked at Poseidon cautiously. He did not know what he wanted to say or do. "His ability is the same as mine. We both came from Demon Island." Poseidon told Bai Lin Luo a shocking fact. "Our group landed on Demon Island. At that time, the expedition teams from several countries went up together, but very few people survived. He and I were the survivors. The other one was Mr. Young. After the three of us left Demon Island, we returned to the human world. However, the three of us seemed to be like pathogens. Some of the people who got close to us began to mutate. They obtained superpowers and became the second batch of mutants." Bai Lin Luo was a little surprised. This information was too shocking. The second batch of mutants also began to have a variety of superpowers. "The ones who were most affected by me were 4 people. They each had some of the most primitive powers of humans: wind, lightning, fire, and frost. They chose to submit to me and be used by me. At the same time, more people were influenced by them and became the third batch of mutants." Bai Lin Luo thought for a moment. The reason why he suddenly became a mutant was probably because other mutants influenced and radiated him. "All these years, we have always wanted to return to our original place, Demon Island," Poseidon said. Poseidon said, "There might be a secret that could make us stronger. Unfortunately, we all failed." "No," Bai Lin Luo frowned. "Li Fan told me about Mr. Young. Didn't you guys attack him when he was young and kill his parents?" Whatever Mr. Young wanted Li Fan to see, Li Fan could only see." Poseidon smiled. "Back then, he and his parents followed our expedition to Demon Island. However, his parents didn't survive. I was the one who raised him." Bai Lin Luo could not believe it. This was beyond his imagination. What the hell? This is unbelievable. Bai Lin Luo had always been conservative. He had never thought of this possibility. "You should have guessed that I am not Poseidon. I am the god of the Gold Empire, the creator." Poseidon opened his arms and raised his voice by an octave. "Me, the prophet, and Mr. Young, the three of us have strong psychic powers. So, even if our bodies perish, our minds will remain." "You mean, before you were trapped, you let your mind escape into Poseidon's body, right?" Bai Lin Luo explained his analysis. "That's right. You are very smart." Poseidon nodded. "Although the three of us have similar powers, we have different ideologies. I believe that our powers can change the world. We can even become true gods. After all, our powers are different. What about the prophet?" The prophet, that hypocritical guy. He actually thought that he could become the savior and use his powers to save the world. And Mr. Young's idea is to destroy you infected people who are poisoning the earth, right? That's right. They are both too stupid. People like us are destined to be different. We have such great powers. Why don't we use them? Your thinking is too extreme, Bai Lin Luo said coldly. This power should be used to protect humans. Hehe, it seems that you are also affected by the prophet's ability. Poseidon looked at Bai Lin Luo. The power of the three of us is so strong. What nonsense are you talking about? Bai Lin Luo suddenly thought of something and frowned. Not bad. It seems that you have thought of it too. Poseidon smiled. Li Fan is the person who has the most contact with Mr. Yang. Li Fan's mind power is very strong, Bai Lin Luo said immediately. A mere mutant won't be able to affect him. Whatever you say, as long as you are happy. Poseidon smiled. However, I am no longer in the mood to play with you. Time is up. Poseidon said as he took a few steps back. His body disappeared from Bai Lin Luo's sight in the blink of an eye. Oh no, Bai Lin Luo frowned. He did not expect that even after activating the mind suppressor, he still could not imprison Poseidon. No. It was not Poseidon, but the creator. Had he really been affected by the prophet? Bai Lin Luo's frown could not be unfurled. There were too many things that worried him. Should he tell Li Fan about this? Bai Lin Luo thought for a while and decided not to tell Li Fan. Telling Li Fan would only cause him more trouble. These things should be solved by himself. Where did Poseidon go? It seemed that he could only ask the prophet. Yes, as long as the prophet was in his hands, there was nothing to fear. Everything was under his control. Bai Lin Luo suddenly took 2 steps forward and suddenly thought of something. The mutant he met on that island. Could it be Poseidon's body? Now that he thought about it, it seemed to be the case. God. If that was the case, it was too scary. Just his body alone had the power to change the world. Now that this guy's real body had appeared, it would bring about another disaster. Prophet. Tell me the solution. Bai Lin Luo walked towards the prophet's room. Li Fan did not know any of this. He was busy dealing with the extracurricular activities arranged by the school. Participating in this activity with them was City A's most famous experimental No. 1 high school. Although private No. 2 high school was famous, it was still a private school. The difference between China and other countries was that overseas private schools were the best, while China's national schools were the best. Experimental No. 1 high school was a key university in the province. Every year, it sent many talents to various universities. Many parents whipped their children so that they could get into the experimental No. 1 high school. As long as they got into the experimental No. 1 high school, they would be connected to a prestigious university. At that moment, the representative students from both schools had left their schools and were in the expansion center that was jointly built by several schools in City A. Chapter 674. The expansion center wasn't small. Li Fan felt that it was even bigger than private No. 2 high school. The expansion center was built on a mountain. The environment around it was very good, and there were learning and entertainment facilities everywhere. Liao Wushuang led Li Fan and the others in. They were a little excited that they would be staying here for 3 days and 2 nights. The cool autumn wind blew on them, making the students even happier. They felt like they were on a vacation. But soon, they couldn't be excited anymore. Because the students of experimental No. 1 high school were standing below the dormitory building. They turned around and saw the students of private No. 2 high school. Oh, these are the students of private No. 2 high school. Don't talk to them. They're all backward students. Aya, we actually have to stay with these people for 3 days and 2 nights. What a shame. These people looked at Li Fan and the others from the corner of their eyes, but when their eyes fell on Liao Wushuang, Lin Yuhin, and Murong, all of them were stunned. Private No. 2 high school. Why are there so many beauties? Oh my god. Do they have boyfriends? I'm so outstanding, they'll definitely like me. The boys of experimental No. 1 high school all stared at the beauties standing beside Li Fan, but none of the girls looked at them. Teacher Liao, welcome. Welcome. The leader of experimental No. 1 high school was a male teacher in his 30s. When he saw Liao Wushuang, he swallowed his saliva. Obviously, he had some thoughts about her. Hello, Teacher Wang. Liao Wushuang stepped forward and shook hands with the male teacher. The male teacher seemed reluctant to let go, but under everyone's gaze, he reluctantly let go. Teacher Liao, we'll be living together for the next few days. Everyone should take care of each other. That's for sure. If there's anything, let's communicate. Liao Wushuang exchanged a few polite words with the male teacher before leading the students to the dormitory building. The standard of the dormitory building wasn't low. Every room was a 4-star standard with double beds. Everyone was assigned a room, 2 to a room. Li Fan shared a room with Liu Zhu. After all, other than him and Bai Lin Luo, no other male student dared to share a room with Li Fan. When they arrived, they would first go to their rooms to tidy up. Gather at the hall in an hour for the first group activity. Li Fan glanced at his phone. It was a WeChat message from the class monitor. He walked to the bed and saw that both his and Liu Zhu's beds had a new set of black and white sportswear with the logo of No. 2 Private High School printed on it. This was the uniform they would be wearing for the next few days. Li Fan casually took off his school uniform and began to change into this set of sportswear. What are you doing? After Li Fan took off his clothes, Liu Zhu suddenly exclaimed. She looked at Li Fan as if he was a pervert. Change your clothes. Why don't you change in the bathroom? Fuck, why are there so many things? As Li Fan spoke, he took off his underwear. After wearing it for a day, it was damp. He changed into a clean and comfortable one. Let's take a bath first. It will be more comfortable. Li Fan stretched his body naked. Liu Zhu was completely dumbfounded. She stared blankly at Li Fan standing there. The sun shone on Li Fan's body, reflecting his skin with a bronze color. Li Fan stretched his muscles and bones, and then moved his body a little. His muscles were stretched out in a beautiful arc, and Liu Zhu fell into a daze as she watched. I'm going to take a bath first. Do you want to join me? Li Fan turned his head and asked Liu Zhu. Liu Zhu's head almost flew off. Okay, then I'll go in first. As Li Fan walked into the bathroom, Liu Zhu felt her face was hot. He patted his cheeks and then quickly changed into the black and white sportswear with the logo. When Li Fan came out, he saw Liu Zhu had changed into new clothes and couldn't help but ask. Hey, don't you want to take a bath? No, it's none of your business. Liu Zhu angrily said, moreover, can I wear clothes? I just took a bath. Li Fan said, why do you have so many problems? Are you a woman? Liu Zhu suddenly became nervous. Haha, I'm just teasing you. I'm not talking about your mother. Don't be angry. Li Fan said, changed into a new pair of underwear, and then put on the sportswear. The material of this sportswear seems to be good. This time the school is really willing to spend money. Looking at his sportswear, Li Fan couldn't help but praise it. It's okay. Only you would like this kind of vulgar material. Liu Zhu ridiculed Li Fan. Isn't this good? You're talking as if you were born in a rich family. Hearing Li Fan's words, Liu Zhu suddenly went silent. I was not born in a rich family. When I was born, my parents were already dead. Li Fan was stunned for a moment, for he didn't expect Liu Zhu's life to be so miserable. However, Li Wei took me in and brought me up. So, sect leader is my only relative. Even if others can betray solipsism, I can't. I see. After hearing her words, Li Fan was a little depressed. The reason for that was because he had always wanted to bring Liu Zhu out of solipsism. But now, it was clear that it would be very difficult for him to bring Liu Zhu out. If possible, I really wish I was the one who met you back then. Li Fan couldn't help but sigh. Haha, we are about the same age. When you met me, you were still a child. Could you have adopted me? Maybe. I really want a younger brother. Li Fan smiled and said, when I was a child, I told my mother that I wanted a younger brother or older brother. Haha, I was still very cute back then. However, my family conditions were not very good, and it was a problem to raise me. Chapter 675. Liu Zhu looked straight at Li Fan and said frankly, I entered the Jianghu when I was 5 years old. I've seen too many things in the Jianghu. Li Fan, You're still too young and trust some people too much. If you guarded against them, you wouldn't have drunk the poisoned wine in the night rain building and become so embarrassed, right? Just like me, guard against everyone, no one is worthy of your trust. What about me? Li Fan's question made Liu Zhu stunned. Then I'm not worthy of your trust. You. Liu Zhu stammered, but Li Fan couldn't help but smile. Although I entered the Jianghu, I've always been in a silly state and trust everyone. But for me, I like to make friends with sincerity. Perhaps some people don't really want to make friends with me, but it doesn't matter. Among 100 people, if I can make friends with one, it's my harvest. Li Fan looked at Liu Zhu and said, for example, you. I think I should make friends with you, what do you think? Humph, in short. You should be more careful. Liu Zhu angrily turned his head away, as if rendered speechless by Li Fan, unable to refute him. Okay, if I didn't know you for a long time, I would have thought you're a woman. Li Fan smiled, feeling that Liu Zhu sometimes has a little girl's temper. You're the one who's like a woman, always nagging. Liu Zhu fiercely glared at Li Fan. I really don't know that so many women are blind, how could they like you? Haha, wait until you like me, then you'll understand. To hell with it, I won't like you. In your next life, how about you be reincarnated as a woman and I marry you? No, it's nothing. Liu Zhu suddenly panicked. Why are you panicking? You don't want to be a woman? Humph, it's none of your business. Liu Zhu turned her back and didn't seem to want to talk to Li Fan. Actually, you really need someone by your side to love and pamper you. Li Fan suddenly sighed with emotion, causing Liu Zhu's body to tremble slightly. Liu Zhu, don't worry. No matter what happens to you in the future, I will protect you. Li Fan gently placed his hands on Liu Zhu's shoulders. At that time, we kowtowed to each other. Even if one day, you are despised by the world, and everyone has the right to punish you, I will also do my best to protect you. Why are you doing this? Because I believe that no matter what you do, you won't harm me, right? Li Fan said sincerely, I really treat you as a brother. Unexpectedly, Liu Zhu was angry again. This made Li Fan a little confused. What was going on? Why was he angry all of a sudden? Ignore me, I want to sleep for a while. You have to go downstairs later. At that time, I will wake up by myself. Liu Zhu showed her unhappiness. Li Fan had no choice but to let go of Liu Zhu. He stood in the middle of the room and squatted in a horse stance with both hands in front of him, maintaining a palm-pushing posture. For a martial artist, the fist does not leave the hand, and the song does not leave the mouth. If he doesn't practice for a day, he will become rusty. Right now, Li Fan was maintaining his best posture. Although it was difficult for his martial arts to improve, at least he could not regress. On this point, Li Fan admired Guan Wenbao the most. He was too serious in his training. No one could compare to him. In a second, Li Fan could enter the state of training. In a blink of an eye, 5 white smoke came out of his head and rushed to the ceiling, forming a large cloud. Liu Zhu opened her eyes and looked at the 5 white smoke above Li Fan's head. Her heart was filled with envy. 5 flowers bloom. Alien bone exchange. For Li Fan to have 2 great abilities, it was really enviable. Liu Zhu knew that she was also talented. Single flower at the crown. For ordinary people, this was an extremely enviable talent. But compared to Li Fan, it was like a farmer meeting a big landlord. Comparisons were odious, and goods had to be thrown away, Liu Zhu angrily thought. But this guy, how could he be so at ease to enter the deep state of training? Wasn't he afraid that I would make a move on him? This guy, how could he be so at ease with others? Really annoying. Did he think that I wouldn't dare to make a move on him? Liu Zhu circulated her power and raised her right hand. Her palm condensed true qi. Li Fan, don't blame me for this. Liu Zhu walked towards Li Fan and raised her palm, preparing to crush Li Fan's skull. Liu Zhu swayed for a long time and finally put down her palm. Today's weather is good. It's not suitable to kill. I'll spare your life. Liu Zhu happily went to take a bath. In fact, Li Fan was not aware of the outside world. He was very at ease with Liu Zhu. At this time, Li Fan entered the deep state of his consciousness. It was the quiet surface of the water again, surrounded by 7 huge beasts. But Li Fan's current fist technique had already surpassed the 7 beasts. This was the bottleneck of his cultivation. In terms of external cultivation, he had already reached the limit. But in terms of internal cultivation, he was still lacking too much. At the place where the sea and the sky met, 9 stars appeared in the sky. 6 of them were very bright, like bright lamps. And 3 of them were dimmer. These were the 3 acupoints that Li Fan had yet to open. This bright and quiet area, but behind Li Fan, there was a different world. In that world, the sky was densely covered with nebulae and darkness. There was also a huge whirlpool on the surface of the water, as if it could swallow everything. This world belonged to the 7 heroes, and the starry sky belonged to the star Luo Supreme Art. In Li Fan's world, there was a clear distinction between black and white. He glanced at the 7th star above his head, as if he was holding back his energy. Should I try to open the 7th acupoint? Thinking of this, Li Fan's 7 beasts all raised their heads and simultaneously opened their mouths at the 7th star. Bang! 7 different colored energy blasted out from the 7 beasts' mouths, shooting straight into the sky. With a rumble, the 7 energy blasts landed on the 7th star. The star kept shaking, receiving the impact. But the 7th star was very tenacious. No matter how the 7 energy blasts attacked, it still remained unmoved. Too sturdy. Li Fan frowned. Could it be that my cultivation has stopped at this level? Li Fan, wake up. Just as Li Fan was about to try again, a familiar voice rang in his ear. Li Fan suddenly woke up, left his visualization world, and returned to reality. He opened his eyes and saw Liu Zhu standing in front of him, using her demonic voice to talk to him. Time's up, big idiot. Liu Zhu glared at Li Fan, then opened the door and went downstairs. Chapter 676. This activity seems to be carried out together with the students from the No. 1 experimental high school. When Li Fan went down, he saw the students from the 2 schools waiting for him. The students from the No. 1 experimental high school have changed into blue uniforms, except for a beautiful girl who wore a red uniform. Lin Yuhin, long time no see. You still haven't dropped out of school. That girl crossed her arms and looked at Lin Yuhin with a mocking look. It's all thanks to you. Lin Yuhin looked at the girl in the red uniform and softly said, Bai Jie, long time no see. You're still the same. Wait a minute. Li Fan pulled Lin Yuhin. What did you say her name was? Bai Jie, white as in white, pure as in clean. Lin Yuhin seriously explained. Li Fan felt as if he was struck by lightning. Celebrity. Hello. Li Fan wanted to step forward and shake her hand, but Bai Jie disdainfully avoided him. Lin Yuhin, I'm afraid you're going to lose miserably on the first day of the competition. Bai Jie crossed her arms and ignored Li Fan. Then, she proudly looked at Lin Yuhin and the others. However, this is your fate. Private No. 2 high school is still a lot weaker than the No. 1 experimental high school. You guys are too arrogant. That's right. Why do you look down on us? Although Bai Jie was quite beautiful, no one could accept what she said. Especially these students from No. 2 high school, each and every one of them was so angry that they can't wait to push Bai Jie down and ruthlessly whip her. What a willful and arrogant woman. Lin Yuhin curled her lips. Junior high school is always like this. High school is still the same. Haha, Lin Yuhin, I think you're just jealous. Bai Jie sneered and looked at Lin Yuhin. You didn't even pass the No. 1 experimental high school. How can you compare with me? I think you might be mistaken about something. Lin Yuhin smiled, then said to Bai Jie, if I want to enter the experimental No. 1 middle school, it's just a matter of time. However, No. 2 private high school promised that students who studied here would be exempted from tuition and fees, and they would even provide a scholarship of 5,000 yuan per year. Bai Jie froze for a moment. Why didn't I know about this? I don't believe it. Before Bai Jie could finish her words, the 2 teachers had already gone downstairs. Come, come, come. Students, let's gather. The male teacher clapped his hands and said gently, I'm very grateful to the Education Bureau for giving us this opportunity to gather in this beautiful place. Li Fan wanted to complain. Damn, these words are so annoying. However, the male teacher seemed to like to say these kind of things. He went on, wishing he could pull out the names of all the leaders from the Education Bureau and praise them 100 times. Alright, let's go to the training ground first. It seemed that even Liao Wushuang was tired of listening to it. She clapped her hands and walked out with the students of the second middle school. Then let's go. Let's do our best in today's competition. The male teacher smiled at his students. Let them know how big the gap between them and our school is. Good. Let these people understand that trash will always be trash. In the next 3 days, we must beat them in all the matches. The students of number 1 experimental high school shouted. As the class leader, Bai Jie waved her hand, and the students behind her immediately shut their mouths. I understand that you have emotions in your heart, and so do I. These trash actually want to train with us. They are simply shameless. On the first day of the competition, we must make them lose so that they can't lift their heads. The class leader is right. Let them leave here crying. No. Those beautiful girls can't leave. That's right, why don't we let those girls stay? Yes, let's study together. Let's progress together. The boys all chuckled, and their thoughts were self-evident. Bai Jie naturally knew the thoughts of these boys, but she didn't expose them. She wanted them to have more expectations so that they would work harder in the competition. A group of boys of number 1 experimental high school were crying piteously as if they were in heat. The male teacher led them outside and met up with the students of number 2 private high school. The first day of the competition is the team relay race. Liao Wushuang introduced, each class will select 4 teams of 2 people. Team A will be responsible for carrying Team B to cross the obstacle, and Team B will be responsible for answering the questions. Once they reach the race point and finish answering the questions, the first team to arrive will get 8 points, the second team will get 7 points, and so on and so forth to see which school gets the most points. Liao Wushuang said and pointed. The staff of the development center had already prepared the competition venue. There were 4 sections of track, and each section had unique obstacles. Some sections had railings, while others had soft sand, all to increase the difficulty of the competition. Okay, let's start selecting the contestants. The male teacher was confident, but Bai Jie sneered again and again with a proud face. Our class is the experimental class of number 1 experimental high school, the elite of the elite. Moreover, many of the students here are the city's elite athletes. It's really unlucky for them to meet our devil team. Don't mind her. Mental patients have a wide mind, and brainless children have a lot of fun. Ever since Bai Jie ignored Li Fan's handshake, Lin Yuhin was even more unhappy with her. Not only Bai Jie, but almost all of the girls who belonged to the underworld were unhappy with Bai Jie. Come, let's select the contestants. Lin Yuhin came over and assumed the position of the class monitor. She began selecting the contestants. I'll be in the team with Li Fan. Liu Zhu, and Ling Yu will be in the team. Before the other 2 teams were announced, Murong Ari and Liu Zhu were already unwilling. Why are you in the team with brother-in-law? That's right, don't exclude me just because I'm a teacher. Liao Wushuang's words made the surrounding people roll their eyes, thinking, Teacher Liao should have some sense of honor. You're a teacher, hey. The third team, Murong Ari and Xia Yang. The fourth team, Jin Jiemo and Cheng Mohan. Lin Yuhin's allocation was the most reasonable. Every team would have 1 student who was good at studying. This way, it could ensure that no one would be affected because they couldn't answer the questions. I want to apply for a substitution. Cheng Mohan actually raised her hand. I want to be in the team with Li Fan. Lin Yuhin was speechless. This woman, where did she come from? How could she have the right to speak among these people? I also want to be in the team with Li Fan. Ling Yu knew her mission. At this moment, it was the best time to get closer to Li Fan. I'll reluctantly be in the team with him. Jin Jiemo curled his lips, and when he said this, he seemed a little unhappy. Me too. I want to be in the team with junior brother. Xia Yang refused to be outdone. I can also participate. Liao Wushuang was also a little eager. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.